Welcome to Spaces, a trip through the tryptophan. Just want everybody to give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear us okay.
I can hear you.
That we're going okay. I'm running this off the browser, which I haven't done in eons, and as you can hear, we sound a whole hell of a lot better, I think. For the first time in the history of this god-awful show, you have some clarity to the experience. So,
don't worry, that will not be the case Tuesday night, but I think we're ready to go.
We'll see if I get kicked off here again. Chrome likes to act really weird with other spaces. I don't know what the deal is, but we're going to give this a go, folks. UConn 74, Illinois 61. Yet another brutal spanking for the not-so-fighting Illini down in Madison Square Garden. Rough night for the Illini, but a couple different folks led the way tonight. Got to probably give the biggest tip of the cap to, I guess, Malachi Smith tonight or Haraiba. Solo Ball had a nice night. A lot of people had a nice night. Some guys had not as nice of a night, but it was okay because we all figured it out. UConn, I would say pretty good performance all around. I think we shot 41%. From the floor, 35% from behind the three-point stripe, 70% for the line. Maybe could have been a little bit better. But nonetheless, another big win in sort of the hell gauntlet that is our non-conference schedule. And next up, a trip to Kansas and the fog one more time. But before we talk about Kansas, we got to talk about tonight. So, Hurley Mania, what'd you think?
Yeah, I thought it was just a great day at the Garden. Shouts to everybody who was there. We weren't. The crowd was wild. The split was way more pro UConn than usually you get in a Big Ten game by all accounts. But place was really packed out, and I know this was a big day for the athletic department in terms of revenue split, which is our favorite thing to talk about, but it does matter. And the team really showed up just from the opening tip. And I thought today was a day where everybody who stepped on the court really gave them something, had at least a standout moment. And whereas in their first big out-of-conference win, the BYU game, the star of the show was Silas DeMurray. The star of the show tonight was the other point guard that UConn brought in. And I have said this, it is a personal prerequisite. The University of Connecticut must have a point guard from the city of New York at all times. It is just the track record is too good. Malachi Smith isn't here for a long time, but he's here for a good time. And today he was absolutely sensational. 14 points, 9 assists, 1 turnover. Just a scintillating performance. Really stepped up when Silas got into a little bit of foul trouble early in the second half. I mean, he picks up his third foul 10 seconds in, and it became Malachi's time to shine and run the show. And he was just awesome, culminating with one of the most absurd shots a UConn player has hit in that building. I mean, the most absurd one since the League 3. A play that, let's be honest, was horrifically officiated and judged from every aspect of the rule. I have no idea how that counts, how it's a 4-point play, but I don't care. Just an electric moment to stem the tide when Illinois, for the first time, after 70 minutes of being a sock puppet for Dan Hurley in the University of Connecticut, Illinois decided to actually participate in the last 10 minutes of the basketball game, which was kind of nice. And they cut it down. It's funny. It was the same with the BYU game. UConn stretches the lead to 20 points at about the 14-minute mark of the second half. And in the BYU game, things went completely sideways. Today, things didn't go as sideways because they have a lot of Serbians, but they do not have AJ Debinsa. And there's a sequence there with a couple minutes to go where, it's a 7-point game, I believe, at the time, and 2 offensive rebounds in that sequence. And Malachi Smith, thinking the shot clock is still going on. And the reason I don't care, besides being a UConn fan, is I don't know what the Illinois kid's doing tackling him out there. If you think the shot clock is running out, I wouldn't do that. And he just puts it up, and it banks it in. The Garden goes nuts. We have a 15-minute delay trying to figure out how to adjudicate it. I think they get it wrong in every way, but to UConn's benefit. And once that goes down, any thoughts of an Illinois comeback are completely extinguished. UConn gets a 74-61 win. I thought everybody contributed. I thought Solo in the first half especially was great. Solo finished. He still hasn't caught fire from three. In the first half, he had 13 of his 15 points, so he's really quiet in the second half. Solo, the driving at least was effective. 6 of 14 from the field, just 2 of 9 from three. I thought Alex was awesome. Just a crazy stat line, especially the last 5 minutes of the first half. He was incredible on both ends. Alex, 12 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks, and a steal. Just incredible. And they got a little bit from everybody. I mean, Terrace today couldn't really do a whole hell of a lot offensively, but defensively, and especially in the first half, you just saw the difference in what this team looks like with him in the middle. And they needed him against a team that has tremendous size in Illinois. And I thought Terrace had an amazing game. He only could go 15 minutes, but they looked so good in those 15. He got into foul trouble, but I don't know, Hopples, what physically he could even do in terms of offensively. But defensively, man, it just totally changed the look. It allowed Alex to not have to worry about playing on the inside as much. Jalen Stewart, same thing. And just, he was a warrior in there, man. Just competing with God knows how that ankle feels. We got to finally see Braylon Mullins, who got a crazy offensive rebound and is a wild watch defensively. Very entertaining. He managed in 10
I love
minutes.
the first rotation completely lost the guy in the corner. That was awesome. Welcome to college basketball, kiddo.
Yeah, welcome to college basketball. Here's Illinois at the Garden with 17 Serbians. He was minus 12 in 10 minutes, and I don't even care. The jumper that went down was smooth. He was 0 for 3 from 3, but you got to imagine the butterflies with him were rolling. 2 rebounds, so it was great to see him. Jalen Stewart. I thought today was also the first game where they got something out of both Jalen Stewart and Jaden Ross. And it wasn't a ton, but it was really positive from both of them. I thought Jalen in the first half defensively, especially when they really got that run going. We have a couple of wild stats on that run, which we'll get to in a minute. They were great. Dwayne Caroma played the last minute, had a great cutting dunk. So even Dwayne got into the act. And also
efficiency machine.
He's Mr. Efficiency. And Eric Ryba, man, all those minutes he had to play against Arizona in all these games really shone today. He played 22 minutes. He had 8 points, 7 rebounds, 2 blocks. He
had 4 offensive boards today.
Yeah, he's so far ahead of schedule. And in a game where there was a huge battle in terms of the size thing, I thought he was awesome. Jaden Ross, man, it's not a lot every game, but it's pretty consistent. There's no stinkers here. And the 3 he hit was electric. Just an altogether great team performance, but especially Hopballs, the defensive performance was out of this world.
Yeah, I mean, just across the board, you know what I mean? Like, I thought today, Terrace gave us what he had. Let's just put it that way. But taking up enough space and again, we've talked about this ad nauseum the last couple of games, but, slowly but surely starting to get a glimpse of like what this is supposed to look at full strength, right? And you just put Terrace down there, you put Braylon out there, it's just a whole other thing that you got to think about and the space that it just creates for everybody else. And they played us very physically today. You were kind of joking around about it earlier. It's like they were playing a little dirty, and I kind of respect it.
Yeah.
I like that.
I was mad for the first couple of minutes, but then I was like, you know what? Fuck yeah. I grew up a Knicks fan in the 90s. I have to be honest. Yeah. This is the sort of shit I grew up on.
And that's helpful for us. If there's going to be another team that's going to be even playing a little bit more grab ass than we are, I'm all about that. But look, I mean, you can only be hanging on for dear life so much when you just have so many offensive threats all over the place. That's really kind of the biggest thing here. But, again, I mean, you were just talking about it, the defense. I thought the post defense was I thought our rim protection was very good. I'm just continually impressed by Eric Ryba a little bit more every game. I was saying this in Discord a little while ago. The thing that impresses me the most about all of Ryba's tools are his very large brain. I feel like he learns something new every week. And Dan must absolutely love coaching him. Can you imagine how awful Dan is to him in practice?
Yeah, especially with
rides him like a
the
mule.
Terrace situation where it's the only guy really who can run at the 5 right now.
I riding Eric like a mule. Eric's probably like, yeah. You just tell him to do something, man. Like he picks up a little bit extra. He's not perfect. I mean, there's times where he looks like Bambi on the middle of an ice pond at times, and he gets sped up still. There's still plenty of freshmen in there. And I'm sure he's going to be good for a couple stinkers the rest of the way. But like in terms of like where he needs to be right now, has just been everything they've needed him to be and more. And I've just been really impressed with his continued defensive performance and his rim protection, because that was really kind of the knock on him early on. Not as physical, and played a very physical Illinois team today, and I thought more than held his own at the rim. So I was pleased for what we got from them. Silas, a little bit too much foul trouble, and the game probably got a little bit more. This is kind of we're going to be looking at some of the things that I guess areas for improvement. The fouling is still an issue, and it's impacted how they've played in the second half defensively in 2 big games now. But look, I mean, kind of where this team's floor is at right now, I mean, sign me up, man. They are not far from like really taking off. I think it looks very, very good right now. I think it's going to look incredible in about another month and a half. They are very close to really blowing this thing open.
Yeah, the floor is short 2 starters. They take Arizona, who might be the best team in the country, to the wall. Missing 2 starters. That's the floor. Now, I hope we don't have to deal with that again, and that is honestly my biggest concern right now is the health thing. And it seems like this is all going in the right direction. Dan postgame talked about wanting to get off the minutes restriction, hopefully for Tuesday, with Terrace and with Braylon. So that if they can navigate that, I've said after the Arizona game, I learned that night they can win the national championship. And today I saw why I believe that, because you see what it's like when everybody's on the floor. That is one of the 4, and there are other really good teams out there that I'm really impressed by. This isn't like a 2024 thing where I think it's like UConn and a drop, and then Purdue and then a drop, and then I don't care. I think there is a group of 4 or 5 teams that have separated themselves from everyone else, and I think they're in it. And but they can only be in that if they have the full squad. If they have the full squad, they are right there at that top of the sport. And for me, it's the defensive improvements these guys have shown. It's night and day. Like Solo isn't a plus defender now, but he was good today defensively, especially in the first half.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought he was better defensively than he was offensively.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I was going to say that, and it would have sounded like I was taking a shot at the fact that he can't hit a 3 to save his life right now. But he was really good defensively, I thought, in the first half.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a thing I did not think I would say at any particular point in the season would be that our defensive rating on Ken Palm would be higher than our offensive rating. But alas, here we are.
Yeah, I'm actually going to pull up.
Currently, right now on Ken Palm, I think we're 14th overall offensive efficiency, 8th in defensive efficiency.
Yeah, so I pulled up Torvik, because on Torvik you can take out the preseason bias stuff.
Yeah.
And first of all, UConn is 2nd in the country overall, if you take out preseason bias, behind Michigan, who looks like a murder wagon. Full respect.
No, Michigan looks like we did in 23.
Yeah, well,
we were like, uh-oh.
Some of us talked to Dusty May in the offseason and saw the plan. Maybe I can wake him up in the middle of the night at the Final Four or something, if it comes to that. If you're just looking at the season, take out any preseason stuff on BartTorvik.com. UConn is 17th in offensive efficiency and 5th in defensive efficiency.
Okay.
So that's taking out any of the preconceived notions of what a bad defensive unit this was, which it was for the standard. They are an elite defensive unit right now. And on September 19th, 1992, the United Nations Security Council, they did Resolution 777, which said that because the Social Federal Republic of Yugoslavia had ceased to exist, it meant that the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia, which meant Serbia and Montenegro, could not simply take over the seat in the United Nations. They had to go and apply for their own independent membership in the United Nations. That was the last time I saw a group of people from the Balkans eat that much shit in Midtown Manhattan. Because today, Illinois, all the Serbian and the Montenegrin and the Croatian guys got put in a fucking body bag by UConn defensively. I'll just run them all down now. Kylan Boswell was awesome for them. The point guard, 25 points, 9 rebounds, 39 minutes. The rest of them stunk out loud. David Mirkovic, 3 of 10 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3. Andrei Stojakovic, the biggest shock, 1 of 7 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3. Tomislav Ivicic, 3 of 5, 1 of 3 from 3. He was the decent one. He was their second best player by a long shot. Big Z. You remember Big Z? Remember how Big Z, Jeff Goodman, was going to save freaking Calipari's job at Kentucky? He still stinks. 1 of 7 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3, a complete embarrassment. And Mihail Petrovic, 1 of 7 from the field, 0 of 1 from 3. So I'll give you another one. With 4:50 to go in the first half, David Mirkovic made a layup. With 6:18 left in the second half, Tomislav Ivicic hit a jump shot. From 4:50 to go in the first half to 6:18 in the second half, Kylan Boswell was the only player to make a field goal for the Illinois Fighting Illini. In that period, Boswell was great. He was 5 for 10. Stojakovic was 0 for 3. Mirkovic was 0 for 3. Humrichis was 0 for 2. Big Z was 0 for 5. Illinois had a stretch in this game. They were 1 for 19 from 3. UConn shut the water completely off on these guys.
Yep.
And that is a great offensive
I thought there was a big athleticism difference today. And like, I think this is kind of an interesting contrast, by the way, because Illinois, I think are like kind of like a highly skilled team, but they're not it's not a very athletic team.
Yeah.
And I think you kind of saw the difference today between that, having the skill and the athleticism is what you want to see. But yeah, I mean, got to give credit to UConn though. I mean, great defensive effort tonight. Now Illinois missed a couple of wide open threes, but
a lot of them.
I almost felt like Brad made the exact opposite mistake that he made in the Elite Eight. Had a big size advantage and just, oh man, have some game feel, dude.
Yeah, it was.
For the love of all is holy, like just get some basketballs down in the post. Let those guys go to work a little bit.
I mean,
and
Terrace Reed has one functioning ankle, and UConn's got a true freshman in there. I know this is a great offense, and they can bomb it from 3, and that's a lot. And I think they're a really good team, Illinois, even with how today went. And today they had a shitty shooting day. They're going to have a lot of really good shooting days. But Jesus, in this matchup, if you're not killing UConn on the inside, I don't know what you're doing. Like, that's the reason Arizona won the game at Gamble. And Illinois has huge players at every position and a physical advantage. And like older, experienced Serbian and Croatian and Montenegrin guys against, God bless him, he was great. But Eric Ribas, 17. And they would drive, and it was the same thing. They would drive. UConn's defense would collapse in a group because they don't have an individual star defender in there. And even with Terrace in, he's hobbled. And they would kick out to a wide open 3, and they just wouldn't knock it down. And they would just run the same thing over and over and over, clang, clang, clang. There was no creativity. They didn't change anything up. When they finally went inside, that ended up being a joke. Illinois was 9 of 22 on layups. Illinois did not have a dunk in the basketball game. They did not have one dunk, despite having 2 7-2 centers.
I love slapping the shit out of that fan base, too. That fan base is a bunch of losers. Can we just be honest about that, by the way? Can we get into that?
They are. I mean, this is a fan base that spent 20 years crying about not getting to have a racist mascot. And that's like 5th on the list of weird shit they do. So.
Just a bunch of huge losers and weirdos. Eat shit.
Hey, at least they didn't lose by 40 to UConn or in a game at the Garden, so that's a big improvement for them going forward as UConn leads 39 minutes and 42 seconds of the game. They just dominated from start to finish. Illinois did make a bit of a run, like they did an 11-2 run, so they didn't just straight up lose by 30 again, so props. But unlike the BYU game, the closest it felt tight, right, because we were all worried with the BYU game. The closest that game ever got was 7 points. It was not nearly.
Yeah, well, that's my whole thing. I mean, everybody started freaking out about the BYU stuff, and I don't think this was like a matter of them It's similar to the BYU game. It wasn't so much a matter of them not like being ruthless and stepping on throats and whatever.
Yeah, I think it shows progress.
You're just in a lot of foul trouble. You can't be as physical with these guys as you want to be, and like you're going to have to allow some easy buckets, and you get a couple of empty possessions, and they're going to close the gap a little bit, and it's just going to be what it's going to be. That's why they have to get the fouling shit under control a little bit. Just too many. There's still too many personal fouls.
I think if anything, it shows that the improvement from the BYU game, because UConn got into a period where they were 1 for 11 from the field in the final 10 minutes of the game, but
I don't think we had a starter that scored. What was it, the last 30
that's
minutes
the other side of it.
Like
UConn didn't have a starter score the last. I'll have to check. I believe it was the last 15 minutes. So that's the other thing today, was just the depth really shown through for UConn. In the bench all contributed, was able to carry the load, and they just shut Illinois' water off. Illinois goes through a 1 for 19 stretch from 3. They also had a 1 for 17 stretch from the field overall, and it allowed UConn to just extend out to a huge lead at the Garden and get a really critical win. Now UConn's got two neutral site wins over really good teams, like top 10 level teams now. And Tuesday night, it's not a free hit, but man, if they get that, which they could, they absolutely can. I mean, especially if Darren Peterson's out, and we don't know yet. I think he's going to play. That's what it sounds like. But he is the focal point for that offense, and it's his first game in a couple of weeks, and UConn's really good. So we'll see what it looks like. He'll probably be really good, but that usage rate's going to be crazy. If UConn can get that Tuesday, if they can get that, they'll have 3 wins away from home over 2 elite teams and a team that's really good. Kansas team that's going to end up being like a fringe top 25 team at worst. So, and it's a good thing UConn's getting them hot balls, because there are not going to be opportunities in conference play, because holy shit, this thing just keeps getting worse.
I know. But, that's kind of the crazy thing, though. They steal this game on Tuesday. There's not a lot of losses the rest of the way. I'm sure we will find one. I have all the confidence in the world that we will find a game where we absolutely poop our pants.
Tuesday night, January 13th, Newark, New Jersey.
Right there. I can't
pencil that right.
I wouldn't even be mad. I'd actually be happy. I'm going to be upset if we win that game.
Did you know that Seton Hall,
top 60, they're eking into the quad too.
They're the 6th best team in the league on KenPom,
and moving up in the world.
They're only 5 behind Creighton. That's depressing, but also impressive. I'll say that I had as much fun this week watching Seton Hall and Shaw in Maui as anything else. It was just so cool to see the way they've turned things around this year.
Fun basketball team to watch.
Yeah.
They're going to be a headache for their fan base, but they're fun. That is a team very early on that has absolutely bought hook, line, and sinker into their crazy, demented coach.
Yeah, who's really good. He's a really good coach. This is when he does his best work. Give him nothing, put him against the wall. I'm so impressed with what Shaw's done there. I just want
Shaw to have 5 years of happiness. I don't know, but maybe Shaw wouldn't know what to do with a good team.
I don't know if Shaw wants that.
I think we all have our gimmicks, right? Like, like Billy Beane never left Oakland on principle. I don't know if he'd ever leave Signal, but like, I would love to see what he could do just anywhere functional other than Seton Hall, but it is what it is. But you look at this, man. I mean, Florida, I don't know what you think so far. I mean, I am going to eat some crow on this one because, oh, boy. So they may have used from a year ago on their guard play. You'd figure Boogie Flan would probably be year 2 Boogie Flan would probably be a pretty good pickup. It's been and Princeton guard might be this year's Justin Timberlake Aiden Mahaney Award winner.
Xavier Lee is 11 for 51 from 3. That's 21.6%. That is, listen, because I can have a sense of humor. That is solo. Even solo is above that. So Yeah, that's an adjustment that a lot of people were curious about because it was like, I get like he's a good player, but this is a huge step up. And so far, Xavier Lee doesn't look like he's able to get to that level. Florida is still a huge team, but that's why today's game gives me so much confidence because between Arizona and today, these are two teams that are crazy deep with size that UConn has played and played well against. And in the Florida game, and we'll see, anything can happen. That Florida team's backcourt is terrible. So compared to these two, compared to what Illinois' got, what Arizona's got. Arizona's got Jaden Bradley. Illinois has got Kylan Boswell. Florida does not have that. So we'll see. I mean, that's down the road, but UConn so far moves to 2-1 in the gauntlet portion of the schedule with a huge opportunity Tuesday. And then after that, knock on wood, they're through the hardest part of it. And then we all get to adjust to this reality where Big East play is kind of boring, hopefully. Maybe one of the most exciting games ends up being the first one.
Butler.
I'm really impressed by Butler.
I wouldn't say I'm impressed by them, but I am impressed by the ground that they've made up. If there was going to be like a bright spot in the league, Butler they're okay. I don't want to say they're good. Not going that far. Refuse to do that. But they're okay. Like, that's a team that needed to figure their shit out. Them and Seton Hall, I mean, I will say this, like, as disappointing, I mean, Creighton's a fucking disaster. Providence is scary bad. Marquette's scary bad. Xavier's even more scary bad. But I will say this, the teams that have been kind of like dragging the anchor, with the exception probably of DePaul right now, which, by the way, DePaul is 105th on KenPom. It's like, relatively speaking.
And hey, seriously, great win for them today.
Yeah. I mean, like, let's, I'm not trying to, like, put lipstick on a pig guy here, guys. Like, the conference sucks shit this year. But, like, look, the teams that were dragging the anchor are moving in the right direction. The problem is the teams that were in the middle to the top are a complete fucking disaster. So Seton Hall, it's been acceptable. Butler, acceptable. DePaul for them, not good, bad, but bad is better than holy shit. What the fuck are they doing? Even Georgetown now moved themselves into the 80s.
Yeah, they had a rough week, but weekend in Orlando. And I'll say this for DePaul, like, it's the most shocking thing ever. Buffalo's 7-0. George Halkovich has saved his job at Buffalo and has done a great job. They had the loss to them, which looked humiliating. Now it's a bad loss, but it's not god awful. And they lost to Northwestern by 2. So listen, DePaul, it's bad, but it's not like complete disaster bad. There are a couple teams in this league I'm more worried about, honestly, than DePaul. Like, we'll get to them later. St. John's, Providence, Marquette. Creighton's got an injury. At least they can kind of justify it based off of the McAndrew injury, which is a killer. But, I mean, St. John's and Providence, holy shit. We'll have fun with that one later when we get there because they're a complete mess. UConn is not a mess. They're a winner, 74-61. We should probably let the winners whine.
Folks, UConn's Husky season is here, and the good folks at Martin Roll Souls are here to keep you fueled so you can keep foot on gas throughout the year. Hot dogs, kielbasa, sausages, deli meats, you name it. Not only can you grab what you need for the big game at their retail store at 45 Grove Street in New Britain, they'll even bring the meats to you and ship them across the country. That's Martin Roll Souls, the official sponsor of the Connecticut Basketball Spaces Wiener Weinerline. Folks, it's time to get to the meat of tonight's show. And by that, we mean the Martin Roll Souls Wiener Weinerline. Will be taking calls and check-ins here for the next hour. So if you guys want to go and ask to speak, be allowed into this sacred space with myself and Hurley Mania, go ahead, request on up. We'll get you in here. And who do I want to go first tonight? Oh, Stairway to Seven. Seems like a brand new guy. Stairway to Seven, what do you got for us tonight?
Hey guys, enjoy the win today. Happy to be in the building. First of all, I don't know if Connor's on the call, but I wanted to shout out his incredible rendition of Mr. Brightside. I think we all thoroughly enjoyed that during the second half at some point. But
somebody recap this for me because I saw the pictures. I didn't experience the joy.
Yeah, it was the karaoke vote for whatever song you want. Camera found him, and the crowd reacted accordingly. So we got a glorious 30 seconds of a lip synced song from our guy Connor, but obviously that made the rounds. But other than that, I did want to, I guess, talk a little about Terrace. I think we all saw that he wasn't 100% today, but you could definitely tell. You could tell that the team's identity, especially on defense, looks so much different than it did in the past couple games, especially compared to Arizona. So I'm very excited just to see that even a 75%, maybe less, version of him is someone that can just completely change the way teams play while he's on the floor. Just curious to see where you think he's going to be at in terms of health going into Tuesday night and what that'll look like against Kansas's center rotation.
Yeah. I mean, I'm due to be honest. He looked like he was walking around with a fire poker up his ass all day today. Wasn't at his best. That looked like 60-ish% Terrace, which was good enough. I do worry a little bit that Kansas is going to watch that and be like, ooh. But we'll see where he's at. I mean, give him a couple days of live practice. Maybe feeling spick and span by Tuesday. I don't know. Dan said, what was it? Hurley Manny said he felt like he was a week ahead of schedule, or like probably a week ahead.
It was a week ahead of where they.
Yeah, that's probably about right.
Where they thought he was going to be at this point. So in terms of Kansas, what they're going to run up front is Flory Badunga, who I've actually been really impressed by this year. He's been a player that struggled at times last year for Kansas. I've been really impressed by him this year. I was impressed by him at Players Era this week because remember, he doesn't have Darren Peterson to facilitate the offense. So Flory Badunga has basically been the focal point of their offense with Peterson out. Badunga is 6'10", 235, senior or sophomore. He's a load on the inside, but he's just going to play and drop. So, but he kind of plays the 4. Bryson Tiller plays at the 5. He's a little taller, but Tiller's largely a non-entity on offense. He does leak out and shoot threes occasionally. So it's not like UConn's going and facing, as much as I've been impressed by Badunga this year, they're not going in there and facing, I don't think Badunga is as good as the two Illinois guys who stunk today, to be fair, or what they had to deal with Kaida on BYU. So there's that consideration. It's when Terrace is on the floor, it just, even when he looks like he can't move, it makes everybody else's role defensively for the team that much better, because Terrace is never really going to leave the paint anyway. And for what Illinois wasn't really trying to drag him on the outside too much, which is surprising with the shooting they have. So I don't know that this Kansas team, now look, they could go nuclear any night. This isn't a Kansas team that's really blessed with great 3-point shooting, yet alone from the centers. So I think it's going to be a pretty basic run-of-the-mill kind of Terrace banging on the inside situation. But that can be exhausting against a guy like Badunga. So I'm hoping that minutes-wise it'll go up. Dan seems positive on it. And that I would not play him against East Texas A&M for all the money in the world. I don't think there's a point. Especially because UConn, while they've got the Kansas game in front of them, and that's the big one, you got Florida right after that's got a million bigs. Terrace.
I would totally put Terrace on vacation. I'd send him home. Send him to the beach, maybe.
It's the best place to be. So, I do think they're going to need him on Tuesday because it's going to be a crazy road environment, but it's not a game where you need him as much as you would have needed him today, in terms of the way that the opposition is set up. The Tuesday game plan is, holy shit, can Darren Peterson not go nuclear? And that is not a Terrace Reed problem.
All right. Yeah, that's about where I see it. I did enjoy the 30 seconds of joint Chroma time we got today. So,
Most efficient player on the roster, if we're being honest.
Hopefully we'll get to see more of him against East Texas A&M and maybe not any more than that. But I
hope he gets 15 minutes against East Texas A&M and Terrace gets 0.
I'd take that, all right? Yeah, we'll go with that. I do also wanted to shout out the Malachi play. I think there was a little bit of rule of cool that kind of was thrown in there.
That looks cool as hell. Let's count it.
It was great. I don't see any rational reason it was called the way it did, especially after review. But in the building, it was a great moment, and I'm very grateful for that. So
now
it counts. It's on the record.
It very much should have been UConn ball with 2 on the shot clock. It should not have counted, but I don't care. That looked like a crazy moment in the building.
And I think that did happen earlier in the game where they had some sort of shot clock issue. So that wasn't the first whiff from the shot clock operator in that sense. So hopefully they have a better one for the next game tonight. But we'll see.
That's what was wild about it. It was the whole Knicks crew. Like, they were just there early. Like, why this wasn't somehow, like, if they could figure this shit out in Hartford, I would think the Garden can figure it out, but you never know.
It was the turkey from yesterday.
Speaking of the Garden, Hot Balls, do you enjoy that court we were playing on this afternoon?
I was going to say, we're 1-0 on blue courts. It's a new thing that we can say we're undefeated on.
I didn't think it was that bad in person, to be honest.
That's what everybody said that was there at the game today. It was like, oh, the court's fine. This looks great.
I as someone who has watched more NBA Cup games on TV than I'd like to admit, I do think it is significantly worse when you're staring at a screen that has a bright court. But I'll give them props. In person, not a horrible experience.
It wasn't. I thought it was going to be worse. I adjusted to it pretty quick. I didn't have too much of a problem with it. It's weird. I'm not saying it isn't weird.
It's weird.
Everybody
Definitely weird.
Into such an old head, even the young kids. Everybody online was just like, no, it's not how a basketball court's supposed to look.
I mean, the biggest concern for me on that court is going to be the NBA versus college 3-point line. And I think that really fucked with Illinois more than anyone else. UConn didn't have too many of those crazy NBA threes that have driven us all insane. Illinois was confused on which line was the correct one, it seemed. And it could have been worse. If you watched BYU Wisconsin a couple of weeks ago, that was on the purple Jazz court. That was way worse.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's
a
way
piece
worse.
Of art.
BYU in the royal blue, Wisconsin in the red and white on a purple court was way worse.
That's what the people want.
This was at least watchable. It was weird, but it was watchable.
So just chiming in, like, in person, the way the lights are set up for TV to, like, illuminate the players, I think makes the court look way worse. And in person, you're maybe at an angle more where you're, like, looking past the court rather than down directly at it. And you can also see, like, the scuff marks and the actual floorboards in a way that doesn't come through on, like, a compressed stream. It looked totally fine. It was like playing on blacktop or something. Not a problem at all.
It did look like it had a little bit of that old school, like, random field house at a D3 kind of feel to it.
Yeah. That's like, it was like, oh, I guess it's blue, but it was not distracting. It was very matte. And then when I watched a highlight, I was like, why does this look like someone has, like, just polished a car and made Alex Caravan stand on it?
Every time they did a non-regular broadcast angle, my wife was very astute observation. She's like, that court's really scuffed up. There's a lot of scratches on it. Is it old? I'm like, they just got this court like a month ago. It does look like shit though. Yeah, it was weird. It was, I got used to it. I thought I would, and I'm the guy who yells and complains about everything. Look, when UConn's pulling off an 11-0 run on it, I don't care what the court looks like. So that helps. But
I think what's also interesting to me is that I turned on the Knicks game a bit ago, and they changed out a good part of that floor. You don't see the college line. Obviously, the center logo is the Knicks instead of whatever sponsor they had today. So my question is, how much usage, like that court could not have been used before today. So how much wear and tear did it really get? And still look that bad?
Every Friday home game is the NBA Cup, so that's when they've used it. Well, all they do is So the logo for the sponsor at midcourt, they just pull that up. Underneath it, it says New York. You've seen what it looks like horizontally. That's why the logo is so big. It's just covering that. And the college 3-point line they put down is just tape. So they're just pulling tape off of it at 3 p.m. That's it. That's all they do.
That's impressive.
So yeah, it's not exactly a high level, court switch over at that point. But thank you, Stairway to Seven. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you having me on.
No escalators.
It was a good day. It was a great day.
Great day. It was a phenomenal day. It was an incredible day.
And I just wonder if so many people, many of whom I see listening to this, who just couldn't get themselves up to go down to New York on a Friday.
Oh my God.
Being not in the building, maybe it was good luck.
Sorry, I was busy thrashing the Boys and Girls Club of Springfield.
Well, that at least sounds noble. Those kids need to learn.
Thrashing.
But it was it actually was like nobody was in the city. It was like very easy to get in and out, and a very enjoyable experience.
Very empty trains.
And look, it was I was like a little like, what's this crowd going to be like? Because sometimes when we play these Big Ten schools like Indiana, who we've played a few times, you can get like a 60-40 crowd because they just have such massive alumni bases, and this felt like 85-15, and it was extremely full. It wasn't a full sellout. You could see some open seats in the very, very, very back, but it was fuller than I thought it might have been, and huge UConn representation. It was a very nice atmosphere.
Yeah, they reported the attendance was 16,154. So for a game where UConn, it was basically a home game in terms of administratively. That's a really great crowd. It's a really good payday for the program because they got I've been told how the revenue split worked, and you'll love this. It is the revenue split St. John's gets at the building. So, and I don't think St. John's is going to be clearing 16,000 at the rate this is going very often.
Yeah, they might have some issues. I think it was. I'm happy to wait for the secondary tickets for February 6th because those are just going to come down and down.
Yeah.
But it was fun in the building. The play everybody's focused on was extremely weird in the building. I think what maybe only I have picked up on it was particularly weird because that 3-pointer was the 3-pointer which took us to 69 points. So I was like locked in on that, and I went to look at the scoreboard because I wanted to take a picture of it, and they only moved it to 68. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because it's not always obvious that they're doing a replay review. It's not like the PA announcer comes on and says, and now we're checking X and hold on for 30 seconds while we do that. So there was just sort of like a lot of milling about. And live, I saw it and I was like, oh fuck, it didn't hit the rim. And then I was furious for a second when Malachi shot it because I was like, but they reset the shot clock. Did he not see it? And then we got the world's most confusing theoretical explanation for why 2 separate times the shot clock was screwed up in a row on the same possession. So I guess it counted, but whatever. It was when the shot went in, it was the best moment of the day.
Yeah, it felt like anarchy the entire possession. First, like getting the 2 offense. The underrated thing about that was the offensive rebounds on the possession when it's late in the game and it's getting tight, and Illinois is threatening to get back in it to just get another 20 seconds. And it was as proud as I was of them all day rebounding, and then that weird shit happens, and it's just up for grabs.
Yeah. It was, it was nice. It was the first time I've had the chance to see them in person this year. I'll be there in a week and a half when they play Florida. But you just see like, even like Stilted barely can move, like what Terrace means to everything that team does. He's just so large and so impactful. And it's not quite what Donovan was like in terms of the whole gravity on the floor changes when he's there, but it's not unlike that. So even, rolling him out for 15 minutes, but then seeing what Ryba can do in his time. And I think, Dan said it in the post-game press conference that being able to have these 2 weeks where Ryba has been thrown into the line of fire, I think is going to pay off big time because he was super impressive, and it just this team's really fucking good.
Yeah, with Ryba and Terrace, they've got two centers that are vastly different again, which was it's not as good as 23 or 24. I'm not going to go there yet, but it's the same kind of thing where they're just drastically different looks between the two guys.
I don't know that this team kind of. I was going to bring this up actually earlier. This team seems to like be inhabiting the space between those two teams quite a bit. They don't have like
I see that.
unbelievable burstability that the 23 team did, where they could just put 20 points on your face in like 5 minutes, but they could put 12 to 14. And they're not quite like the 24 team was kind of more of a boa constrictor. You could play them reasonably close for a half, 25 minutes. And, you know, you want to take it a step farther. You know, I think there was like a Sanogo and Klingon were a little bit different. We're obviously two very different players. I thought, obviously you had a kind of a very big difference in styles between Klingon and Samson in 24. But like the skill deficit somewhere in between in that. Like I'm not ready to call Terrace Sanogo, not ready to call Ryba Klingon, but they're both something kind of close to that. Very different skill set. I think Ryba's
further away.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
But
I think
there's flashes,
Donovan,
man.
but like I think Ryba's offensive ceiling might be higher than Donovan's, just in terms of the overall skill set, but the defense is in there.
Yeah. I mean, Donovan's defense was like, like I mean, it's just there's not gonna you can watch for another 40 years. We might not get that again.
The 2024 UConn Huskies had two guys who may be on the NBA All Defensive team this year. So,
and then you kind of look at Ryba, but like I think his offensive skill set might be higher than everybody's.
Yeah,
like, just in terms of the range of things he's going to be able to do offensively, like he can really stretch the floor. And he's not going to be Klingon, but like I could think he could be a Sanogo-ish rim protector. I think it's in there. It's not there yet. Still, it's definitely a ways off, but like I think it could be there. Whereas Terrace, obviously, I think he's clearly more in that Sanogo tough guy to kind of knock off the block and just changes a lot of things down low. But, you know, I think this team is kind of like an interesting kind of middle ground between the 24 and the 23 team.
I think because I remember when they played the Kansas game 2 years ago and they took the tough loss, but what helped was Bill Self. He said, he's like, you've got to switch everyone against these guys to have a shot. This UConn team isn't as good as that team, but if you switch everybody, there's not the drastic like, oh shit moment, I think, necessarily, where it's just a blatantly awful matchup. I think right now with Terrace with the ankle thing, I mean, hopefully I think what Self's going to try and drag Terrace all over the place. I don't know how he can do it with the roster he has, but he's really good. If Terrace can just play kind of drop right now, which is what the Illinois guys were doing today, which I thought was weird as shit, then it lessens what Terrace has got to do with the ankle. If this UConn team, though, is forced to switch 1 through 5, I think they're going to be okay. Because, like, they don't have an elite all-NBA guy like Donovan or like Steph, but they don't have a complete, like, Solo just getting to passable defensively is why that is so huge for that point of view. Because it was just target Solo last year and it was bang in the corner. He was going to miss a closeout. And he's come so far, and it really raises the floor for these guys.
Yeah. So three quick hits, and then I'll jump off. One, this was noticed by a friend who's listening. I don't know if he wants to be called out by name, but no starter scored in the last 15 minutes. Like, not a free throw, not a field goal, and they still look. They had a lead. They gave some of it away, but I think that says a lot about the depth here and what the amount of weapons on this roster, and makes me feel good because I think it will be rare to have no starter scoring in the last 15 minutes, and Terrace is part of that. But there's just a lot to be excited about because Illinois is a good team, and I was never, not for 1 second, worried today after the tip. Two, I do credit, like it's silly, like a little bit, maybe not the Hurley fucking tryptophan thing, like not doing or getting all of the holiday shit done on Wednesday and really locking in. I think showed today, Illinois, there's some social media posts. All their European guys were out with their agent last night. The team was celebrating Thanksgiving at the hotel with like a huge family party, and like it just didn't seem like a team that was dialed in the way we were. So that's just Hurley being Hurley and great. And the third thing was obviously Braylon's first time. A lot of shots did not fall, but just seeing it in person, the motion was so smooth, and you can just see that once the rust is off and he's dialed in, that guy is going to be unbelievable. Just watching the ball come out of his hands, every time I thought it was going to go in. So very excited to see what's next and see how they look against Kansas on Tuesday.
Yeah, I just really want no minutes I mean, I want that anyway. I want UConn to go to Allen Fieldhouse with all the weapons, and let's see what happens. Because the fact that they almost won in 24 with a million things going on was why you knew they were the best team. But I'd really like to get this one. So, because I mean, hey, I'm going all the way out there. It would be nice to see a win. But
it's just a wild scalp to be able to get, and
it's all time. They've never gotten it. The program's never got. I mean, they're 0 for 1, but they've never gotten it. So, and Bobby's got it out there. So I'm sure Dan fucking hears about that from Bobby all week. I've won at Allen Fieldhouse. Arizona State oddly has a good record there, which is crazy.
It's a weird thing to have.
And,
all right, we're going to go Cash Fraud next, and then we're going to go to Saul after that, and then Seabash. So, Cash Fraud, what do you got for us, man?
So, that game was fun. They had that game, like Alex Caravan was great. That might have been the best game he played this year, to be honest. Like, he did everything on the court. That's the type of game that like the NBA scouts love about Alex Caravan, because he just did all the little things that contribute to winning, and he wasn't like the focal point of the offense, but he still like scored his points, and like he had a much better rebounding game tonight. Him and Eric were both a lot more aggressive on the boards, which was great to watch. But yeah, Alex just did all the little things, like that time when he sprinted down the court, drew the defender in, and then was in a position to screen for the Jaden Ross 3. Like, those little things just contribute to winning, and he did all of them tonight, or this morning.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought, I mean, not just me, we should talk more about Alex. He was so sensational. He was so good. Like, I'm thrilled he doesn't have to be the number one guy. He can be in the background, and he is the best fourth option any team in the country's got. And that's fine with me. It's great seeing him get to be a part of the machine and not have all the weight on him. And he just contributes to winning all over the freaking place. I feel fortunate that we got him back.
And I was a little worried too when Silas picked up that third foul immediately in the start of the second half. I was a little worried because they looked so much better with Silas on the court in the first half, and then Malachi was just electric the entire second half.
Yeah, that's an all-time moment. Wherever this goes for Malachi, at UConn, he got his Garden moment. That's why he transferred to UConn, and you get I know he's from the Bronx. It was so cool to see. The crazy three is the thing we remember, but he was just nails from all over the place. And in the second half alone, what was he? I'm pulling it up. Yeah, he had 6 of the 9 assists. Nice in the second half. He was 2 for 3 from the field. He made all 3 free throws. He 6 assists, 1 turnover in the last 13 minutes of the game.
He was just everywhere mucking it up today. Just everywhere mucking it up. Back to Alex, though. I mean, you just talk about all the different ways. I mean, he was third in the team in scoring today. He led the team in blocks. I think he was second in assists. I think he led the team in rebounds today. So, you just have him impacting the game where he can. Like, I don't know, man. I think there's just like way too much hay about, is Alex like the definitive number one? I think the space is like in between, like where, again, the theme of the night, where like he's not the kind of player like that's dynamic enough to be able to take over an entire game on his own. But I do think he's the number one option right now. And he just does so many things well and impacts so many areas of the game. I mean, it's really hard I probably would. Who'd you say the best player on the team is? Let's get freaky.
I mean, it's Terrace. Just look at how different they look, even when he can't do anything.
The most important, for sure. Yeah,
I think he might be the best player too. Also,
I'm okay with that. I'm just saying he's certainly the most important. I wouldn't argue that.
I'm willing to listen to it be Alex. And by the way, one of the sad things about the Arizona game was all that, and like he only took 5 shots against Arizona. He took 10 tonight. He to your point, run the offense through him. You have a lot of other options, but like I don't love right now that Solo is taking drastically more shots than everyone else, but I kind of get it. If they can get that sort of primacy towards Alex right now, it would be great. And part of why they won today was because they went to him, because they believed in him, and because he was able to knock down some outside shots.
I think.
I mean, if they can get Solo in the building from 3, then look out.
I think depending on how you want to define it, it's either Terrace, Silas, or Alex. I think Alex is just so important. And if you look at like Torvik, it's like the Portagapoo, which is kind of just like, I think it's just a measure of like how well the team performs with him on the court. I think his is still like technically the highest because he's just on the court all the time and he's so important to like keeping things running efficiently.
Yeah, he said post-game he wants to play 40 minutes a game, which I know it's a post-game quote, but Alex, like, he knows this is it, and he wants to take every last second. I mean, it's so cool. He's going to be the, I guess, Solo and Jalen. He's going to be the first guy to play 2 games at Allen Fieldhouse for UConn. You know, that was the first game ever there 2 years ago, and he knows how, as great as that year was, I wonder if there's a part of the back of his head that's looking at Tuesday like, we let one get away. This would be a really cool accomplishment. Let's go get it, in addition to you want to win the game.
And I went back and watched some of like the Solo threes because obviously I'm trying to diagnose what's going on there. And I think he's getting the ball like a little bit too far out in front of him rather than like up above him on some of these threes. And that's why like it looks so much better on these ones where he's like coming off a screen and like falling away and like trying to avoid the foul, or like even on a step back. It's because it kind of like forces him to keep the ball like up above his head more rather than pushing it out in front of him more. But like obviously those like step backs and like fall away, like those aren't ideal. So like you want to try to get him to where his natural instinct is to have the proper form where he's getting above his head rather than pushing out in front.
Yeah, but I thought we had this sorted today. Like even with, he was doing the kick out thing for a foul, but his shoulders were square, so I didn't care. And then he misses his last 5. He was 2 for 4 from 3, and he missed his last 5. Yeah. So it makes the number way worse. And it was bad, but like it was at the start of the first 20 minutes. I'm telling you, I thought we were making progress. Second half, it goes in the shitter, but a lot of the offense did. But at that point, they have a 17-point lead, so it's gonna come at some point. The other thing I like is he was 4 for 5 on 2s. He was driving. He had a great drive early second half to get an and one, and he missed the free throw, which was annoying. But his body control and driving to the hoop is much better. It's just his number one skill set right now is betraying him, and he might have the ball a little in front of himself. They've got a million optical cameras in the Worth Center to diagnose every part of a shot. The cameras shoot down from if you ever look at practice footage and you see, look at the baskets, there's these cameras that are hanging over the top of it, pointing straight down. They literally measure where in the basket, like where the ball comes through, if it goes in or not. And if you see on the wall, there's these green and yellow spray charts that look like, these crazy looking radar maps. That's what that is. They're mapping literally where the ball is coming into the hoop. That's how granular they get on this stuff. They have got every tool available to any NBA team or college team to diagnose this. Right now, it just isn't friggin' working.
Yeah.
And I hope they're going to need it Tuesday, because that building, hot balls, that building is a jet engine.
It's a completely different level of noise. than other places. Rybo was talking about the sign language thing. They actually did that last game, and they didn't do it for the first 10 minutes and found themselves in a nice, neat, inconvenient hole that, had they not dug themselves, may have gotten out of there with a win. But they're going to need that shooting big time. I'm like just not at a point where I'm all that worried about it. Obviously, it's nice to have, but I mean, look, Cam Spencer, it took that a couple of games to get going.
I think I'll figure it out too. I'm not super worried.
Yeah, I'm not worried.
Yeah.
I just think it's weird.
Yeah. It's just I want to get him going for the team and for Solo too. So
Yeah, well, that's the case for this team as being, if you want to make an argument they're the best team in the country, here's the argument, is that they look like this and Solo Ball isn't hitting threes and Terrace Reed it's been hobbled and they haven't had a McDonald's All-American play yet. And they've
I think if you had talked to us in October and you said, all right, you didn't tell you any of the results of any of the games, and we told you that Terrace would be extremely hurt and Braylon would be more hurt and Solo couldn't hit the floor if he threw a brick at it. How do you think the early part of the season would be going?
I'm excited for Braylon Mullins. His numbers weren't great today, but just watching him play, you can just tell he just gets it out there. And it's gonna look so good when the team gets used to playing with him and knowing where to look for him, and they just build the chemistry. It's gonna be great.
One of the best weapons they have for Tuesday night is they're facing an elite Hall of Fame coach, and there's very little tape on this guy.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting to watch from that point of view. UConn, you can't catch Bill Self off guard on a lot of things, but there's really little that you can plan for when this kid comes in. And if he doesn't have a minutes restriction, it depends on how the game goes. Mullins could play. Let's see, they said it was about 15 minutes for both him and Terrace. Terrace it was 15 on the nose. Braylon only played 10, and Dan postgame was mad at himself for not playing him more in the first half. Braylon could play 15, 20 minutes Tuesday.
Yeah. I think that's reasonable. Kansas is going to be it's going to be a strange turnaround because it's going to be an entirely different game from Illinois, I think. Because you guys were pointing out, UConn had the definite athleticism advantage. Kansas is going to be, they don't have a ton of size, but they're super athletic. I think they sort of feel good about themselves right now. They're coming off 3 straight wins, and the players era, they sort of found something, getting to the basket more with Elmarco Jackson and Melvin Council. And then they got the anchor inside with Badunga, and maybe Darian Peterson's playing, who knows.
So the thing, and they're good. It's Kansas.
They're good. They're actually good.
They're really weird. So, and it's hard because they didn't have Peterson out there. They're a top 10 defensive efficiency team. They don't force turnovers, and their opponents have been very bad from the foul line. And this UConn team has the capability to meet that standard of being bad at the foul line, as we know, unfortunately. But they don't force steals. They don't force turnovers. And offensively, they're 52nd in the country in efficiency. And if Darren Peterson plays, their offense will be better, but their offense will be 130% of Darren Peterson.
But
that is the thing.
Their 2 losses were to UNC and Duke, and they lost both those games on the boards. They just got out-muscled in both those games. UConn's going to have to team rebound, and because Kansas doesn't
get offensive rebounds. They're a pretty poor offensive rebound team, Kansas, so far.
And they don't. Kansas rarely will win the turnover battle because they just don't force any. So if you can get on the offensive glass and extend possessions, that's how you win the game.
Yeah, and they're a team that wants to play at the pace that UConn plays at. They don't play a high tempo. I don't think they're going to want to play a high tempo. With Darren and Peterson, he's a phenomenal player. He's an incredible talent, but I don't know what. Nobody knows really. That's the thing. UConn has the advantage that there's no tape on Mullins really. Kansas has the advantage of they know what the Peterson situation is, and UConn's not going to know until we get there on Tuesday, really, and we see what it looks like. So kind of fascinating, the freshman impacts for both sides. But for Kansas, it is about the freshman. It is, and that is going to be, if Peterson's ready to go, that's a huge task for Silas. The foul thing is a concern. Peterson in the limited time drew a ton of fouls. He drew them again. I mean, they didn't really play anybody, but I'm a little concerned about from today. One little thing, the Silas foul trouble thing against an elite point guard like this could be a problem. On the other side, Silas is very experienced. He's big. That's why you come to UConn for this matchup. So that'll be fascinating to watch. As great as he was today, Malachi guarding Darren Peterson's a little terrifying to me, but that's mostly because of how good Peterson has the potential to be. He's also 18. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think you'd end up more with like Ross or Mullins on him if Silas got in trouble.
Yeah, and I'll ask you this before we let you go. I'll ask Hot Balls this. Because starters really don't matter, so to speak, but if they were to make Jaden Ross a starter at this point, does anybody have an issue with it? I think
No.
Absolutely all in.
No.
Especially Tuesday with the length thing. I think you start him. And especially because Jalen's been fine, but like the issue with Stewie is they can't get like 30
Hard to
minutes
get
out of him.
two halves out of Stewie. It's been less hard to get two halves out of Jaden, but if they could just somehow, in the aggregate, get a half from both, they're fine. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at their split stat line tonight, they're almost like a combined fifth starter in a way. What did they have tonight? 10 points combined. The two of them combined for 7 rebounds. They did commit 5 fouls together, 1 assist, and I think they had 2 steals and a block.
And Jaden has
like
the worst foul luck I've ever seen. He gets banged for. I mean, he does some dumb ones. He does some really dumb ones, but then some ones he's just getting reputation.
Yeah, he's an animated defender. He's like a really animated defender. He's not hitting you, but man, it looks like he's just like
he's doing
very
karate.
busy.
Okay.
Yeah, it definitely does look he's doing some karate. Less noisy looking defense.
On Tuesday, I want Darren Peterson to have to deal with that shit for 25 minutes, and then because even if he's playing, it's going to be really hard for Darren Peterson to go 35 minutes. I don't think Bill Self would even push him in that situation.
He had cramping issues at the end of games.
Yeah, he was having cramping issues to begin with. And then that's where if Jalen can only give you 20, 25, backload him, And they did kind of the reverse today. I thought Jalen was great defensively. He was like a boxer hitting a million body shots, it felt like, in the first half. Just being a huge pain in the ass for Illinois to have to deal with on the inside. I want Jaden to start to deal with Peterson because it's a point guard issue.
Well, that's kind of the thing too. Is like who is Kansas even going to start in that game? Because in the last game in the players era, like they switched out Cole Rosario as a starter, and normally if Cole Rosario was starting, I think he would just probably keep the same lineup. But if they go with that 3-guard lineup instead, you might go with Jaden instead.
Yeah.
So if Darian Peterson comes back, it changes the calculus entirely. But
yeah, one of the 5 million issues with players era, maybe we'll get to that, was that it was Kansas's 3rd game in 3 days, and they didn't have Peterson, so they really only played 7 guys. Paul Mbia played 3 minutes, whatever. Against Tennessee, they played 7 guys, and it's a great win for them to get. It was really impressive the way they closed, but it's not going to be a deep rotation. I mean, UConn is a deeper team than Kansas. If they have Peterson, they have the best player on the floor. And I love Terrace, but it's a different dimension right now.
They really don't have a lot of center depth. Like you might actually see the Mike Nardi influence come out against Kansas, like because the Villanova finishing might be important against a shot blocker like Flory Badunga. Just try to climb up him, don't shy away from contact. Just go straight into his chest and try to get the ball high.
Yeah, but Badunga's good. Tiller commits a lot of fouls, and he's a freshman. That happens. They have those guys are big, but like the height falls off really quick for these guys. They're not a very big team outside of those guys.
Yeah, and like Badunga's a very late jumper. Like he'll try to block every shot, but he's always the second player to jump. So I think you just want to I think you want to go for the Villanova type finishing and try to just take that ability away from him.
I think it's a huge game opportunity for Ryba, honestly, as well. To his size wise, to try and stretch. I want to drag Flory all over the court.
If he's going to
I'm not
rebound
saying,
like he did
yeah.
today, then sure.
Right. Yeah. If Eric picks up 2 fouls in the first 10 minutes, we got a different conversation. I'm not giving him the full green light, but if Ryba can knock down an outside shot in Allen Fieldhouse and they got to keep that shit honest, that could really open a lot up for UConn, because Florida does not want to go out there. Just does not want to do it.
One more point about the game today, and then I'll shut up. I don't want to hear anything about that Malachite 3-point foul, because Illinois had 5 fouls with 17:08 remaining in the second half, and then they weren't called for another foul until that, with 2 minutes and 10 seconds. So they went 15 minutes without being called for a foul, and UConn was called for 9+ fouls in that time period. And that was after Illinois was committing a foul every 90 seconds for the first 23 minutes of the game.
A lot of hand stuff, a lot of hand checking, it was crazy what wasn't getting called too. Yeah, you mentioned that to me, and I didn't realize that it was 17 minutes without a foul.
Yeah.
That felt egregious. Dan did point out post game also in the last 2 games their opponents are 37 of 39 at the line.
Bad free throw defense. They got to work on that.
Yeah, free throw defense got to get better. UConn is currently 322 in the country in terms of opponents are shooting 77% from the stripe. So hey, don't commit fouls. Would be my advice for those curious. Kansas as a team is shooting 76.5% from the line. So don't commit fouls. Mm-hmm. A thing famously this team is great at.
Cash Rod, thank you very much.
Yep.
All right. Going to have a quick word from our sponsor here, folks. If you want to talk about a Connecticut business, nothing comes close to Martin Rollsoles. Since 1928, Martin Rollsoles has been feeding cranky Huskies fans all over Connecticut and beyond. Hot dogs, sausages, kielbasa's, and deli meats. They have everything we need to keep jerks like Hurley Mania fed, quiet. If they didn't threaten to pull their sponsorship over it, in a place to frankly just leave them. But I promise we wouldn't do that to them. Again, that's Martin Rollsoles at 45 Grove Street in New Britain, the official sponsor of the Connecticut Basketball Spaces Wiener Weiner line. And a brief interlude, BYU, get your fucking shit together. Down 6 points right now to the Dayton Flyers.
Oh, no, come on.
The Big East Grim Reaper.
Seriously?
Dayton has beaten
Thank you for
the
Malachi.
entire conference. Thank you for Malachi Smith. Good Lord. Can never get it right.
Dayton in Feast Week, Final 14. Final 14.
Are they like a diet Arizona at this point? Like,
yeah,
hey,
I like that. That's good.
Dayton in Arizona, sitting in a tree, KISSING.
I'm pulling up because I wasn't aware of that. I got to pull up the ESPN Events Invitational, I guess. I'm trying to figure out what let's see what the live AJ DeMonza stat line is. It's led us to this. Oh, it's Dayton by 6.5. Okay. DeMonza, this is kind of like the UConn game. He's only took 3 shots, 15 minutes, 1 for 3 from the field. He has 5 points, 3 rebounds, 2 turnovers. Figure it out, dude. Help UConn's resume out.
Going to be very upset if Dayton actually does turn out to be good. We could use him in this conference right now. Temp.
I have many teams I will throw over the side of the boat for them just for this year.
Just for this year. Only this year. Come on in. You get to spend 1 year here. If
we
shit on the carpet, you're out of here.
Can we please exchange them for Marquette for the love of God?
Just 1 year. Imagine Marquette in the Atlantic 10. Shock would be so happy to be back home again.
They look like a fucking A10 team right now.
They do. Saul, what do you want? Thank you for being patient.
How we doing, gentlemen?
I have never been better.
Phenomenal. Listen, before I get into the bullshit that I have that will absolutely consist of a stray to the New Haven Chargers, Hotballs, were you not watching today on a phone in a passenger seat of a car?
Let me tell you what I was doing today.
Let's hear about this first, and then I'll go.
well, first, I did watch a smidge of the game in the car. Okay. But we actually left earlier. I got up and at him this morning. I said, I am going to see what the sunrise looks like. And we were bright-eyed, bushy-tailed in the Golden family. Got in the car, got home early. I actually did watch the whole first half. Had to listen to a little bit of the second half, watch the rest on my phone at a gym.
How was Mike Crispino today?
Was he
on his A game?
As we went 2-0 today and kicked the shit out of the Boys and Girls Club. And my daughter did probably the most athletic, insane thing I've ever seen her do in her entire life today. I was a very proud papa. She, first of all, a team that rinsed us last year by 40. We manhandled, or should I say woman-handled today. Smashed them on the boards. Smashed them in the front court. Smashed them in the back court. My daughter had 2 double-doubles today. In the last 10 seconds, just to give them a going-away present. When their girls got on a breakaway, it's probably a little evil of me to say in a 14U basketball game. My daughter closed distance from about 20 feet away and blocked this girl's so bad that she sent her flying. The boys' team that was watching, by the way, lost their shit. And the girl went helicopter spinning and almost clean knocked herself out. And my daughter let her know about it. I've never been that. My daughter, who, by the way, Hurley Manning has met, and my youngest has said like a word to him in 3 years. My oldest, very different. Hot Balls Jr. My youngest,
It's true.
not a lot of words. Just a lot of action. So I felt good about that today.
That is better than any story I anticipated you telling. That is phenomenal.
Smoked her. Helicopter, like spinning out. Hit the deck hard. My daughter immediately went to go check on her, put her hand on her back, and looked up at the stands and smiled.
I'm going to guess for the sake of argument, this girl was okay.
She's a little loopy.
Hope not.
A little loopy.
Jesus.
But I'm not going to lie, I was a little proud. It was like watching a hunter pick up a deer's head and show it to the crowd. I was so happy. And what made me happier was after the game, all the parents are coming up. They're like, they called a foul on it, which was ridiculous. Just ridiculous. But it's one of the most humiliating things I've seen a basketball player do to another basketball player on a court in my life. But like, what a going away present. Every parent came up to her afterward. It was like, that wasn't a foul.
You know what? That was a gift to you. That was a basketball gift.
That was for me. I deserve it. Nobody deserves it more than I do. And I was very, very proud, Papa. She had back-to-back double-doubles today. So as we conquered the Fighting Illini, I got to watch my Lady Lancers slap the crap out of 2 basketball teams today. Shut a team out in the first half of the first game, too. Unbelievable. It's crazy.
That's solid defense. I mean, listen, aside from the 14U assault that was going on in Western Massachusetts, as far as today was a pretty electric day at the Garden. It was great to meet up with a lot of Twitter people who humbled me. They have no idea who the fuck I am, which is great. That's why I have the burner. But quick thought, I do want to piggyback off of what No Escalator said. I think this team is the best team in the country if they're all clicking, and I'm not entirely sure how close it is. But moreover, the thing I want to talk about is I wasn't at that game in 2024, but Illinois as a fan base is weird, man. Their fans themselves are fine, but that is a very bipolar. I've never met a fan base with the same people in the same game where one fan can be talking the most obscene shit and the other one is like a basketball fan that hasn't taken a shit in 10 years. Kind of just like, maybe one of these days. Like I sat next to a guy who had an Io DeSumo jersey on, and he literally was telling me, he's like, yeah, we flew out to New York. We heard they were playing for Thanksgiving, and it's like, it couldn't be much worse than the last time, so it'll be on national TV. Why not go? And meanwhile, these kids behind me I'm shouting 30-0 at, and they're like, that was 2 years ago. And I'm like, yes, it was. And it has not aged well. So I don't know if I got much of a read on them, but it was a very odd experience sitting around so many of them.
Yeah, it's a strange group, those Illinois fans. I just still got up my ass from them about Boston. I'm going to be honest. Like, I'm going to give them kind of some credit. Like, they're they're a pretty obnoxious group in general. They're kind of like Providence, but there's just more of them. And I've got to be, you know me, I am not shy of certain forms of confrontation when it comes to basketball.
Wait, you? No.
Never. I'm always well behaved. But I was pretty impressed with how ridiculous they were, like out and about in the wild. Like, forget the game, but just like walking around the streets of Boston, hanging out in the hotel. And every single one of them, those orange orangutans, all had something to say. All of them. I was checking into my hotel, and like it was just like Chirp Fest 5000, walking into the lobby, up to the desk. They really thought they were going to win that Elite Eight game. Like, I appreciate the delusion. And so to see the crap get slapped out of them live, I mean, we hit them so hard, like their heads smacked off the back of their ass like a Pez dispenser. Like,
we hit them so hard, Terrence Shannon got acquitted by accident.
Like, and then today they were a little less quiet, but man, were they whiny after the fact. And, I hope they have a shitty drive home. I hope they have shitty flights home. I hope they all get delayed. And I hope Big Ten season is miserable for them.
Dude, they still look so fondly back on that 2024 team. Like, talking to the people today, that's like, oh yeah, that's one of the best teams we've ever seen in Illinois history.
Well, it's the best thing that's happened to them outside of 05 and 89. The 05 team, though, I will say, there's a real case that 05 team that they had that lost to North Carolina, that we're talking like greatest teams of all time that didn't win the national title. They're in the conversation. They're not as good as 91's UNLV
No,
team.
see, this is where I owe the hot take. I never bought that team. They were really good.
Really?
That Carolina, and we're going to bring Jaden and he'll be insufferable. That Carolina team was so much better than that Illinois team. It was a joke. Illinois had a home game in the Final Four. It was in St. Louis, which is basically Illinois. And they looked like they didn't belong on the same floor.
It is technically Illinois. There's the St. Louis, Illinois.
It looked like they didn't belong on the same court. I was right. That's the two teams they worship when they played elite teams. When it really mattered, when they really had a chance to do it, shit their pants.
I don't know. They were top 5 in both. That's the last. I think that's the last final.
They were a really good team, but they weren't as good.
Both
as Carolina.
teams in the top 5 in offensive and defensive efficiency. I think that was the last.
Not 24.
No, I don't know. Purdue wasn't there in defensively. They were like 12th defensive. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, Purdue was 4 and 12. So that was the last time I think we've seen a final with the two teams top 5 in offensive efficiency. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. They were 37-2, dude. They lost to Ohio State,
which was a great story. The Ohio State one. I don't know if you remember that Ohio State year.
Yeah, they lost by 1 point to Ohio State. That was their only loss of the season, dude.
Yeah, like, so that was Thad's first year at Ohio State, picking up the pieces there, and they were ineligible for the tournament, I think, and Thad got them on senior day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also didn't think the Big Ten was that good that year. Like, I didn't think they stunk. I thought they were really good. I just thought all year I was like, I'd watch them. I'm like, Carolina's much better. Like, just not Brad May. But I
can't much better, man. I mean, the one thing where they did look creaky, a little creaky at times in the tournament. I remember I think it was Arizona.
Yeah,
almost got them in the Elite
Eight. Creaky is a term for it. One of the all-time most insane comebacks in the history of the sport is another. Excuse me. Yeah, they had nothing to stop Sean May, though. They were never going to stop Sean May.
That's true.
Or Rashad McCants. Or Raymond Felton. Actual NBA star players. They had Darren Williams and Luther Head. It was a good team. I'm not saying Illinois wasn't the second best team in the country. They were. I just thought I thought that Carolina team was a cut above more than anything else. D. Brown.
All right. It just feels like a stretch to shit on them. But I mean,
It
I'm
is,
fine
but
with
I'm
shitting
going
on
to
it.
do it because it's fun.
It's okay. Take those droids
Yeah,
down. Push hard.
yeah, I'll say this. They came back and asked for more after losing by 700 to Duke in the Garden in the 30-0. I'll give them credit. They gave UConn a home and home. UConn's going to go out to, it's our favorite kind of home and home. It's at Madison Square Garden and the United Center. God forbid.
I'm going to go. I'm going to go next year. I want to meet Illinois Fighting Illini fans in their habitat, their natural.
You want to see a UConn play a competitive game in Chicago? That's probably your best option.
I mean, we'll see. Competitive seems like a lot to say.
Maybe DePaul will get it together by then.
And we'll see if Illinois can get it to within 10 next time. I don't know. That'd be a big one. Their 89 team probably should have.
Yeah, the 89 team was awesome.
89 team was really good, and they screwed the pooch against a bad Michigan team, which, by the way, so did Seton Hall.
Seton Hall got shafted. If we lost the national title on the call they lost on, I would never get over it.
That would be a great hypothetical conversation to have, by the way. Seton Hall wins that game.
Yeah, it changes so many different. I mean, Carlesmo leaves, and then it absolutely like at that moment leaves. It's great. The biggest change is that Steve Fisher probably doesn't get the job permanently. And what does that mean for Michigan? Because Fisher gets the job and it leads to the Fab Five.
Yeah, and that leads to the 5-5. There's a lot of.
It's a great sliding doors moment. It's a really great sliding doors moment.
And think of this: like, does Bobby go to Hall?
Yeah,
Goes Duke over Seton Hall.
Yeah,
and Bobby Hurley and Dan end up at Seton Hall. Like, what happens long term to Christian Laettner and Duke? Like, what happens to UConn?
Well, if Bobby goes to Seton Hall, Dan doesn't go to Seton Hall, and where does Dan go? Dan probably goes to Rutgers. Maybe Dan has loyalty to Rutgers, and then when they hire him,
I would love to know that. Do you think Dan would have gone to Seton? I think Dan would have followed him to Seton Hall.
I don't think he'd want to be on the same team as Bobby.
Well, no, man, that's.
You think Bobby picks Seton Hall over Duke? Really?
If they won a national title, yes, dude. Duke was not Duke. Duke had 0 national titles in 1989.
Yeah, but they've been to the Final Four. And if Seton Hall wins the national title, PJ Carlesimo leaves. So who's the new coach that's getting him?
Well, maybe Kentucky.
The NBA.
No, he's not going to the NBA. He's not going to the NBA.
He went to the NBA
Kentucky
3 years
maybe
later.
Because 89. When did Rick take Kentucky? Was it 88 or 89?
It was 89. No, it was might have been 90.
Because he was in the Final Four in 87. It might have been 89 or 90. Because Kentucky got fucking penalized.
Really funny scandal. Money falling out of an envelope. Really good stuff.
Yeah, like little classic college basketball.
It's funny how everybody just let Eddie Sutton off the hook for that one.
Oh yeah. Everybody's like, all right.
So yeah, Rick's first year. Thank you, Jaden, who's in the queue. Rick's first year at Kentucky was 89-90.
89-90, yeah. So
2 years later,
so PJ probably doesn't go to Kentucky, but you would have to think that PJ's probably in the mix for Kentucky if he wins that game.
He would have, but he would have been an NBA guy. The NBA always liked him. They were like, "Holy shit, you did this at Seton Hall?"
But, I don't know. I feel like that's a stretch. I feel like he would have stayed at Hall because it would have been worth it to stay there at that time. I mean, the whole Big East at that point, the late 80s, early 90s is really interesting because it was when the teams that sucked donkey shit started to kind of like assert themselves. Obviously, us a year later. To be honest, 88 was nice, but 89 felt like a little bit of a step back. Then we had the dream season. Seton Hall had also mostly been a doormat up until about when PJ got there. Was it 86, 87? Pretty quick turnaround, right? He's there. St. John's has still got Louis there, so there's still some. I mean, you could argue Georgetown was the best team in the country in 89. I don't know how much more attractive another place would have been. And I don't, and this was like in an era where guys, like if they really killed it at a place, stayed at a place. I don't think you can like apply 2025 brain to 1989. Especially then when you're in the best league in college basketball by far at that point.
It's a fair point.
Interesting. Lot to talk about that game. I'm glad we got sent away on that.
I've got so many people texting me so upset at both of us for it. So that proves it's a good subject, if nothing else.
Upset about what?
Why the idea that Bobby Hurley would have chosen Seton Hall?
What was Bobby's college offer list? Duke?
Extensive.
Hall.
Extensive. We've got Jaden in the queue. Jaden, I know this is kind of.
Oh, hold on. Let's go to before we go to Jaden.
Okay, sorry.
I want to go to Seabash just because he was very patient. Saul, thank you. Sorry to leave there early.
Night, boys.
Have a good one. Sorry, we went on a weird path there. Seabash, good evening.
How we doing, guys? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. I haven't had a voice really since Tuesday, and today did not help that whatsoever in a good way. So I'm just going to do this, and then I'm going to jump right off, and hopefully my voice does it. But I just want to say that UConn is back on tour, and we're doing it better than anyone. All week, I've heard these Big Ten fans talk about us, and it's so hard for me to sit back here looking at these fan bases hollering our name when in the last 3 years, I've spent more money on national championship gear than they've made. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, this time national championship ring wearing, kick stealing, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time trying not to think about this team going to a Final Four.
Seabash.
Hold those alligators down.
Seabash. Diamonds are forever.
And so is the Nature Boy.
That was
well,
great.
Maybe not. I don't know. We could have nuclear apocalypse. I'm pretty sure Ric Flair still find a way to get him and Keith Richards are definitely getting into that. Like
Ric Flair's putting a thermonuclear weapon over. I'm telling you, he's that committed. He'll do it. Thank you, Seabash. Yeah, they could go. If they go 3-4, we just quit. Like, is that it? Let's have this problem. That was tremendous. That's gonna be. And we're gonna bring in someone we're gonna see on Tuesday. I want to win the game Tuesday.
We really need more callers like that. People that get a little bit more artistic, you know, instead of wanting to break the game down. Like, I want to hear our listeners' musical talents. You know, I want to hear poetry, a rap. Maybe they make a sculpture. I want to hear their talents. We could almost have a whole section of the show that's just dedicated to talent. Everybody's hidden talent.
The talent portion of the Connecticut basketball spaces.
You know, like you just see Basil like sticking a screwdriver up his nose or something. You're like, look what I can do.
I love Basil.
Never know what
We're sitting with Basil Tuesday. Calm down.
I just saw him. His name begins with a B, so it was top of the listener list. Sorry to pick.
Thank you. I'm so excited for Tuesday. It's so like I want him to win, but it's the fact that everybody that in our group that's going is landing like a half hour after each other. It's going to be an absolute scene in Kansas City.
I just want to see if Posty makes it out of the airport because he's the first one. So we've all kind of made this pack. All right, folks, there's a barbecue bar right in the middle of the Kansas City airport. You cannot miss it. Posty's going to be the first one there at like 9:00 in the morning. He is going to basically run the Ric Flair 1992 Royal Rumble run.
Full Broadway.
I'm very worried about what I'm going to see when I get in there at like 11:30.
Yeah, and this is to anybody who's flying into Kansas City Tuesday morning because it's so specific. I'll branch it out. We're going to that barbecue spot between 9 a.m. and 11:30 a.m.
It's in the airport. You can't miss it.
That's where we're all meeting to figure out whatever the hell this thing is. If you want to come see the shit show, there it is. Feel free. Every 30 minutes, another UConn Twitter dingus is stammering through. I am second to last. Hot Balls gets spot 30. He's the last one in. And I don't know what you're going to see at that point.
I think Mac is the last one in. Responsible beat writer of the Boston Red Sox.
Fair enough. Speaking of responsible,
but I am number 30. And in my brain, I am number 30. That's what matters to me. Jaden Daly, you were there live, and a somewhat neutral voice in all of this today. What are your thoughts?
My first thought is, how the fuck do I follow Seabish?
Yeah, you got to get a little bit more musical in nature. I mean, Seabash is a creative guy. He's in 239. Rest of his family up there. It's like a drum line.
I didn't see him on Sunday. I was a little disappointed, but him cutting that promo kind of made up for that.
Yeah, sorry I was late Sunday. We had a lot going on.
You told me what happened, and bad job by Mrs. Hurley-Mania for scheduling a Target run right before the fucking game. Like, come on.
I love her. She's the love of my life, but at it was a 6:30 game, right? At 5, she goes, "We go to Target first." I go, "Technically, yes."
Yeah, my wife had a whole demand list tonight, by the way. She was like, "Oh, do this, that, and the other thing."
Oh, you're going to fly to Kansas City. You will do the following 10 things first.
And were you looking at Christmas trees again?
Oh, yeah, well, we'll talk about Christmas trees later. We should get a Connecticut basketball spaces Christmas tree. Think about the things that we would hang on it. What kind of ornaments?
Oh, boy. Well, you might want to hang a Malachi Smith ornament after today. That really impressed me.
Big time. I was excited about Malachi today. He was great.
Yeah, I just put a sidebar up on that. Let me share that here while I have a chance. Sam had a game recap centered around Solo getting going in the first half. So, all in all, not quite the BYU game in terms of opponent or finish, but I think, and I'd love to share it with you here, what are your thoughts as far as this team closing in the second half, and how much more work do you think it needs on that front? Because to me, the way they went through the first 12, 14 minutes after halftime concerns me for later on in the year when you get a Kansas, when you get a Florida, or even someone in the Big East who's going to have this team on the ropes because, it's conference play and you throw the records out the window. I want to see how this team finishes when their balls are in a vice.
I'm not worried about it. I really think the closing thing is a thing that is masquerading as a closing thing that is more of a symptom of them fouling too much defensively. Okay. And it causes them to not be able to play as physically defensively as they want when they get up as much as they want, and they have to defend a little bit more gingerly, I think, in the second half. And, look, I mean, you're going to give up a couple of, easy baskets. You have a couple empty possessions, and it makes it look worse than it probably is. The BYU thing, for sure, we really saw it. I mean, I know people's brains were going there when they got it to 7, but outside of that, there just wasn't a lot of game pressure today. It felt like it for a clip. Kind of got a lucky shot. I mean, there were some things you could bring up with the starting lineup. Needs to be a little bit more locked in. I don't know if we've seen that classic full 40 wire-to-wire performance from them yet.
Yeah, and Dan alluded post-game for both teams about the things to get better on. I think they did make progress today, BYU, it looked a lot better than BYU did.
Yeah.
And in terms of closing the game out, so I'm looking at it as progress. It wasn't great, but it's progress, right? And it's still, it's November 28th. So, and with so many new pieces and guys hurt and stuff, I don't expect them to be the locked-in machine yet. So, yeah, it is, Jaden, I'm not concerned about it, but I think it's a fair thing to wonder about. We're not let's see what Tuesday looks like. Let's see what Florida looks like. But
Mhm.
so far they've closed out. They didn't close out the Arizona one, but they've closed out 2. So 2 for 3.
Fair enough. And this is more as an objective media type who tries to watch each tactician do his thing. What the fuck is Brad Underwood doing in big spots? It seems like every time I get him in a big game, he either has no idea how to game plan or no idea how to properly and efficiently use his talent. You have so many big men on this roster. Between Merkovich, who impressed the hell out of me in the first 10, 12 minutes before he got shut down, the 2 Ivasic twins, and the other big they have whose name escapes me at the moment. How the fuck are they not going inside with Taras on a pitch count?
It's wild. I don't think he's a bad coach, but and Illinois fans have even mentioned this, the big games thing is an issue with him.
I think part of it's an issue, but I just think the other part of the issue is like, I think there's levels to this shit. I think he's a fantastic recruiter, but guess who everybody else on that staff is? They're also fantastic recruiters. Orlando Antigua.
Yes, sir. Love Orlando.
Bagman extraordinaire.
So good. So
guy
good.
spent a lot of time under John Calipari. And then
got fired in South Florida.
Failing at South Florida. Like, they've got a lot of guys that are really good at getting a lot of talent onto a roster. And, look, I mean, John Calipari's like a good coach, but like, he's not a great coach, X's and O's. And when you kind of get out of this whole, again, we talk about the portal all the time, right? Like, as soon as this shit became a thing and you could just pay players above board and it wasn't like a market advantage or something that you kind of got to sneak around and do, he started to look a whole heck of a lot more ordinary. I think still a very good coach. I mean, Arkansas is going to be a top 25 team. He's going to still bring in really good talent, and he's going to be there. But, like, you kind of really get to see the OGs. You get to see the guys that are, like, really about both in the portal era. Guys that can recruit and then guys that can coach their dicks off, right? And, like, I think in the last 3 years, at least in this current setting, I don't think it's been terribly surprising that, like, UConn, Houston, like those, Purdue, guys that are like about it, like really about it, are the guys that have kind of separated themselves. I would say those 3 programs, the last 3 to 4 years, are the 3 standard bearers, right? Duke probably mixed in there, but I also think I'm not going to try to kill Shire. I think they've got a very good team again this year. Unfortunately, I am actually very wary of them. But, like John Shire started basically, forget third base. Like, John Shire started so far down the third base line that he's like basically standing in the right-handed batter's box. So it's hard for me to put him into that conversation. Guess who else is sneaking into the top 5 in KenPom? TJ Otzelberger.
Yep.
Quietly. And I think we're starting to see the guys that can like walk and chew gum at the same time and the guys that can't. And a lot of the guys that can't are leaving. And, I think you have sort of like these 2 crops of guys, right? I think you have your coaches that are like excellent recruiters, but not great coaches. And you have excellent coaches and developers that can't recruit in the portal era, that just threw in the towel, right? Like Tony Bennett. I don't want to accuse Jay Wright of this because he was very smart and got out immediately.
Shaka.
But could have been that Shaka, another one.
Oh,
like there's a lot of guys that you kind of put in there, and then like guys that I think are good at both, but like not good enough at both to stick out. Bill Self. So, I kind of like look at the landscape, and then you like kind of look at this staff, right? Like you got Brad, but like you got Orlando, and they're kind of the same guy. And then the guy that's like running their offense is freaking Brad's kid. And then Jeff Alexander's a recruiting coordinator. For what? You have 2 on staff already. So, like,
Does he
I
speak
do
fluent
think
Croatian?
there's just a gap there, man. Like, I think he could just be one of those guys that, like, needs a different skill base on staff, you know? But, like, there's levels to this shit, and I think there's certain guys that are really good at getting guys on the roster and not good enough at getting them to where they need to be. I mean, there's other coaches that are great developers and coaches, but they're not good enough at getting the amount of talent they need. I mean, well, it's, you know, I feel horrible for even saying this because Seton Hall is in such a shit show, but, you know, financially, but, you know, you're looking at Ja. I would probably maybe even argue a guy you could probably absolutely throw in that would probably be like Scott Drew.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, I think NIL's changed the landscape from the standpoint, like you just don't get the market advantage that you used to have with a lot of these guys. And you look at a lot of the Calipari guys, that coaching tree is long, but it's not very good. And that's why. And I just look at a lot of that stink on the Illinois staff, and that's really what it is. And I just think Brad's also he's just got really lousy game feel.
Fair enough.
I think we saw it in a vacuum in 2 games against UConn, but there's a ton of other examples of that.
Yeah, the Duke last year was embarrassing. There was, it's. I think
when they get run,
coach,
they get run bad.
Loyola in the tournament, the year of the COVID
that
bubble.
Was so bad. That was unconscionable, that one, to lose that game that way.
And then 21-22, a game that I covered at Rutgers, where he said it was an ass kicking from the opening tip to the final buzzer, where they just got punched in the face from start to finish.
Yeah, his team usually when they go. Like they're not losing a lot of close buzzer beaters in the tournament. They're getting like pretty soundly beaten by guys like Calipari or by Mark Pope got him last year. Musselman, who's having a good year,
Porter
got him. Porter, Dan. The Porter one's actually embarrassing. Hey, speaking of Porter Mosier and the Oklahoma Sooners, Marquette, what the fuck?
That final possession was a shit show, and that's being nice.
Look, I was obviously a doubter of whatever the whole plan was, and so was Hot Balls this year, but I did not think it would be this bad. This is like their offense is an abomination. They all they do, they want to set everything up for threes, and they can't shoot threes.
They suck.
Yeah.
Their offense right now is 89th on KenPom. Their defense is 74th.
They're just bad. They're not a good team. And today was the worst.
They're going to go to Mackey to play fucking Purdue.
That's not going to go well. Is my prediction. They had a 12-point lead with 13 minutes to go in that game, which, by the way, really the cherry on top of playing Oklahoma at UIC's arena in Chicago. Just beautiful. And I know the Marquette fan base is starting to get a little angry because like they move these games around to make more money, but then they don't spend any money in the transfer portal. They don't get transfers. And Shaka, we've been over it, doing some really interesting post-game press conferences. He's not in any trouble. They're going to be bad this year. He's going to be fine. But this sort of year is the year that gets fans pissed off. This sort of shit was all foreseeable. I didn't think they'd be this bad, but their offense not being good was predictable as hell because they didn't bring back any good offensive players whatsoever. None.
He's having a Mick Cronin moment this year.
Yeah, but at least Mick's entertaining.
Right.
Well, I guess he's entertaining. I have to go find Shaka's post-game quotes today. I want to see if he talked about connectivity and, efforting and creating success or whatever.
It's just nonsense. They just don't have enough talent on the team because he refuses to go get it. There's just no all this other coach speak horse shit. It's just such a waste of everybody's time. It's so insulting to that fan base. I don't want to feel bad for them because they're a bunch of snotty piss hands.
If you put Shaw at a place like Marquette, he'd kill it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead, he's fighting for his fucking life.
Oh, I know. I don't. The Marquette thing pisses me off because the NIL is there. I do think Shaw has enough coaching sense in an X's and O's standpoint to be more competitive, to just do this. It's humiliating.
Yeah, and people he just got caught this year but it was so foreseeable. He shouldn't
get over it. I just can't get over taking Tyler Kolek and then just being like, and Omax just being like, fuck, no, I'm not doing this anymore. Like,
he shouldn't get a pass for it. He really shouldn't. Like, this was a foreseeable
Tristan
issue.
and Cam, Dan taking Tristan and Cam and then turning around and go, not doing that anymore. It's just an insane, brain damage take to have. And it's so damaging to the conference. It's just bad. Dude, they are all the way down to 78th.
Well, you know who else is near there? The Providence Friars. This may be the worst defensive team I have seen in the Big East that wasn't DePaul in a decade. Providence defensively will blow your fucking mind if you haven't watched it yet. Every game, somebody goes for a career high. UConn might score 140 against them by accident. They gave it a decent.
Not good.
They gave it a decent go today against Florida, but they're 4-4. There is no at-large path, and it just feels like they're counting down time on Kim at this point.
Yeah, there's no way he survives this year.
The fan base has turned on him. Boy, that's surprising, I'm sure, to everyone. And the funniest thing about it is the guy they absolutely should hire, and they won't do it, is Tony Skinn at George Mason, who is killing it. 7-0. But there's no way they'll go to the well twice. And I just think it's really funny. He'd be the perfect hire for Providence, and they won't do it. It would even piss off UConn fans because of the George Mason thing with Tony was on that team. And they won't do it.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
And he'd have a tie with Seton Hall, too, because he worked with Kevin.
Yeah. I did a great job. Derek Queen looks incredible in the NBA. Tony Skinn was who got Derek Queen to Maryland. That was the Crab Five, was not Kevin. It was not. It was Tony Skinn, largely.
And David Cox.
And David Cox. It was more David Cox. Shout out David Cox. Not a great head coach, but a hell of a recruiter.
Yep.
Got all Dan's DMV kids.
It's true. But, yeah, the league is a nightmare right now. But he's fighting for his fucking life, Jaden, and he's succeeding so far.
And what was the point you wanted to make about Carolina? I know I was on with that, and that Illinois title game is still one of the best I've seen.
Yeah, my point was I didn't. That Illinois team was good, but I just thought that Carolina team was clearly better, and then the game happened, and I wasn't surprised by it.
Close game.
They weren't stopping Sean May or Rashad McCants. It wasn't happening.
Or Marvin Williams.
That's right.
Marvin Williams was the sixth man on that team and went second overall.
Yeah, Roy got it figured out pretty quick, huh?
Yeah, wish his successor was able to do that.
They might listen. They're not bad.
I liked what I saw yesterday. I finally had a chance to watch them.
Michigan State. Hot balls. I hate that UConn can't claim the Michigan State win. It sucks because Michigan State kind of figuring it out a little bit. But I've been really impressed by Carolina so far. They spent money on size. What a concept. Wilson looks awesome.
Yeah, I love Izzo. If he could get to Indy and get one more Final Four run before he hangs it up, that would be phenomenal.
The thing I like is he's stopped. As to use his own words, he stopped trying to change the sport finally. So he's just coaching his guys. You're not hearing about any crazy Tom Izzo press conferences, him railing about the NCAA or NIL. He's just coaching a really good team. I like that Tom Izzo. I want that Tom Izzo. The sport needs that Tom Izzo. Can we just do that, please?
Absolutely.
Have that Tom Izzo.
Well, I'm landing in Kansas City at 11:50 Tuesday morning. As of right now, we'll see if the weather cooperates out of LaGuardia. Hopefully it does.
Daly's number 30.
I
in
may
the Toyota
very
Royal Rumble.
I may very well be number 30.
Yeah.
We'll see. But I'll figure out where this barbecue place is. If even old men like me can figure out where it is, I will
You
probably
can't
join
miss it.
you there.
It's like
Okay,
right
great.
smack dab in the middle of the airport. It's just like you get out of your terminal and you're like, yeah, there it is.
Outstanding. We will.
Look for Postradamus, probably dead.
Posty
too
is
late.
landing. I think Posty is landing around the same time as me, give or take.
No, he's not. He's landing at like 9:15.
Oh shit! Okay, he has an earlier flight.
Yeah, no, he's gonna do the Ric Flair run.
I know.
It's not good for Posty.
I know.
Posty might be KIA by the time he gets to the middle of the airport.
I know Hurley and Jake, because Jake's covering the game alongside me, are going to be flying out of Bradley together, but I think they're on two different planes.
Basically 9:15 through 11:50. Basically, at this point, is going to be just a run of assholes.
Yeah, that's a very good description.
and the ones that are there earlier are going to be in a lot of trouble.
Oh boy, that means I'm going to have multiple eliminations on my hands.
There's definitely like a talent. There's like a trouble meter.
Definitely.
And the guy that absolutely should not be getting there first is.
Yeah, that's not good.
So Posty's going to have the Chris Benoit 2004 run.
Oh they've
God.
got like 7 IPAs on tap at this place too. That's the worst thing.
Oh no,
kill Postradamus.
That's not going to help.
Christ,
not good for Posty.
Oh Christ, what am I going to get myself into?
Yeah, I mean, Posty just is one of those guys that just like sits at the bar.
I love Posty though.
Yeah, but when it goes, like he's like Weekend at Bernie's. Like he's never going to get into trouble, but you got to like kind of carry him everywhere. Or a couple years ago, it was the Providence game. We got the box, the luxury box there.
Mm-hmm.
And Posty was in pretty deep trouble by like the 18-minute mark of the first half. And then by about the 5-minute mark of the second half was like sitting in a chair with a tall boy in his hand, just staring at the bar, and the beer was just pouring all over his
Just
face.
1,000-yard stare. And that game had 5,000 fouls in it too. It was an awful game.
Oh,
I've never met a man that spends so much money to not remember anything.
Was that the Wednesday night game at Gamble with fucking Groover on the whistle?
Dog shit game. Yeah, it was a 24. Yeah, it was an awful game. It
was a late tip off too, wasn't it?
Oh,
it was a 9 an 8:45 tip.
Yeah, it was like a 9 p.m. tip. It was
Yeah, I went to sleep at like the U12.
Yeah. Oh, poor Posty.
Well, it'll be nice to
you,
Jaden. I can't believe you're skipping Carolina, Kentucky for it, but thank you.
Yeah, I'm also skipping Rutgers, Purdue. I would have been at the rack if they weren't playing this game.
Well, that's a murder, so I'm glad you won't be there.
Yeah, me too.
It's gonna be a mess, by the way. It's gonna be a mess. I can't wait.
Have a safe trip.
We're gonna do a live show, by the way.
Awesome. Have a safe trip, gentlemen. I'll see you Tuesday. Love you guys.
Jaden, before you go, Max Cerullo here. I'm pretty sure I'm on your flight if you're flying in the 11:50 from LaGuardia. So I'll try to say hi and see you there.
Absolutely, Mac. Delta out of LaGuardia 9:22 takeoff. If that's you, I'll see you in the airport.
I believe it is.
Outstanding.
Fabulous.
Mile High Club for the two of you. All right, before we get to Mac, I do want to get another caller out of the way here. He's been super patient in the background here. Jonathan Stan account, man, what do you got for us, brother? Sorry.
No, you're good, guys. I appreciate you having me on. Curious what your thoughts are on the uptick in mid-range twos. Also kind of curious what No Escalator's thinking. I haven't seen the heat map in a while, but I kind of feel like coming in, Demery had to have had a conversation with Hurley, like, that's my game, man. And with that, Solo's also been kind of more free to take those. It hasn't necessarily been hurting us. It might be working, but yeah, curious to see what you think on a lot more of those than we're used to seeing in Hurley's offense.
It's a good point. I actually have noticed it. I don't know, Hurley Mania, what your thoughts are on it. But
it was really noticeable in the Arizona game.
Yeah.
But in that game, I was like, well, Arizona's got terrifying guys on the inside. I think that played a role in it today too, because Illinois has the same size thing. I don't like it. It's not what I want, but I think that's what is going to happen against teams that have the amount of size those two teams have. Today they went down against Arizona. They didn't in the first half, and that's why they got in a huge hole. It's a problem with if you get Terrace back playing 25 or 25, playing 30 minutes a game, I think it takes a lot of that issue out of the way. But if Terrace is hobbled, unfortunately, they're just gonna against big teams shoot more of those. It's
down the stretch against BYU, that was really DeMary's bread and butter, I feel like. So yeah, I mean, again, I think for certain people, it's kind of what they do best, not best, but can do better than others, I guess.
Yeah,
I do wonder if there's been a little bit of the Worth cross-mogenization as well.
Oh, you mean because the women's team does it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Paige Becker's doing it's one thing. Silas is good, but he's not elite in his sport like she is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Silas really likes getting that baseline one with the hesitate on the about 10 feet out from the basket in the BYU game, especially hit a couple of huge fadeaways.
Solo's taken a good amount of them though. So is Mally. I wonder if he's just kind of like letting the guards create a little bit, and
it's really just
more of a thing.
It's the lack of Terrace presence that's causing it. I don't want it, but if in this situation, that's what's led to it. So get Terrace back, get him healthy. I think that a lot of that goes away because that's not what they want to be doing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, in an ideal world, healthy Terrace, but ball kind of moves through him. I think we've seen what that offense looks like, and ideally, that's what we're doing. But yeah, I mean, if they can make them in the meantime, that's obviously best case scenario. But yeah, just kind of curious to see what you guys thought. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Mac, what do you want?
Mainly wanted to just hop in just to let Jaden know I had to be looking for him in the airport. But yeah, dude, today's game was great. I guess just kind of curious what your guys' thoughts heading into Kansas. Like, we've seen what this team is capable of at its against BYU. Was obviously like pretty close to their best, even though they didn't have Braylon. So what do you guys like still want to see at this point when we roll in there as far as like, I guess, hitting the next level?
I mean, can they get Solo's 3-point shot unlocked?
Solo's definitely
one
the big
part
one.
of it.
If they can get that
can they get
going
Solo
downhill.
unlocked? And if they've got to deal with Darren Peterson, I mean, that's a huge challenge. How is Silas able to play one-on-one with him and not get into foul trouble?
Yeah, man. I think it's just going to be fascinating to see because, like, Kansas, I really haven't been, like, super impressed with their team, but Allen Fieldhouse is such a beast. I mean, you guys have, been talking it up for years ever since they were last out there. It's just, especially if Peterson plays, I'm just so fascinated to see kind of how they handle it and kind of how that goes because it's like you said, like, that'd be a heck of a scalp to get, winning at Kansas, even if it's not, like, one of their best teams they've had. It just seems like such a tall order. And getting that on top of getting today and getting BYU and, putting forth that really good effort against Arizona, I've been trying to think like, this team isn't as good as the 24 team, but like they certainly seem like they're close or at least like at a level where, they're closer than they are like not,
Yeah, they, the reason I'm looking at this Kansas game is such a big one is that you get past this game. Show me 4 losses the rest of the way. It's hard. I'm just not there with Florida right now, especially being in the Garden. That's going to be really tough for Florida. Their backcourt's got some clear issues. I just don't think they're figuring that out by not this week, but next week. I mean, Texas, we might rinse them at home. But once you get running downhill after that, obviously we'll all get a giggle at the Seton Hall loss on the 13th of January. But like between then, there's not a little loss. They're playing Butler, DePaul, Xavier, Marquette, Providence, DePaul. Before they get to Seton Hall, then Georgetown. And then they got Villanova at home, Providence. I mean, banana peel game with Creighton if they can figure something out, I guess. I mean, like I don't think there's 4 Big East losses this year. I think they'll drop one for sure, but I don't know, man. Like, it has to be very challenging for them to get to 5 losses this year. especially if they beat Kansas on Tuesday. And I'm a little worried they'll be kind of a metrics accumulator in the way and manner that Duke was last year in the ACC. But it's got that vibe. Like, I just don't. They will lose a game, some stupid game in conference. They do every year. They always will. We always have. It will happen. And people will be upset about it for 5 minutes. But the league's so weak this year. I don't know where that's coming from.
Yeah,
Kansas seems like the one game they could lose on the road to a team. This is a team that, like, if we played Kansas at home, I feel like we beat them by 10 to 15 points. I don't think Kansas has the offensive firepower to really hang at home. I'm really excited for Hurley Mania to experience the fog. Because it's not like that fan base is any nuttier than anybody else, but the acoustics of that building are insane. Like, if there is a noise level there that, like your fucking throat starts to hurt, like, down near your heart. Like, it's like you're out in the tarmac in an Air Force base. It's that kind of noise. And it's just hard to communicate if you're not used to being in it. And they can get out with that scalp. And I think they're a better team than Kansas. Like, I'm not just top to bottom, they are. But if they can get out of there, I don't know, man. There's not a lot of losses left on the schedule for them.
Right. It just seems like it's like you were saying before, like Solo getting his shot back, Braylon kind of getting his sea legs, Terrace getting healthy. It kind of just feels like this has the potential to just be an avalanche. So once it gets going, it could just, they could really cruise into the postseason with, the 2014, what they have 3 losses. I don't feel like this is a 3-loss team, but just, it's like you said, the way it goes, like, this could end up being like a pretty impressive season, and getting Kansas would really set them up, well for, the whole rest of the season. It would be, really, really put them on the right path for sure. But man, I can't wait for Kansas, man. I'm especially can't wait for when I land to see you guys at the bar and just to see what state you guys are all in, especially Posty. Meeting him in Boston was hilarious. It's going to be memorable for sure.
Yeah. As advertised.
Yeah, it is. He never disappoints. But that's the thing. Like, but my whole point in this is, like, they get through Kansas, and all right, let's say Terrace and Braylon have some shit to figure out in Solo. Well, they don't have it figured out, and they win those games anyways. And then they got, like, the whole rest of the year to, like, basically use the schedule like an ironing board. That's what it's realistically, that's what we're looking at right now. Which is a crazy thing to say. But that's how I feel. Watching this St. John's team, like, I think St. John's got enough to catch us once. I don't think they can do it twice.
It turns out a point guard is important. Who would have thought?
God. Can we just talk about how annoying the past, like, 48 hours have been as the national media that is just lazy as fucking shit notices that overdosing on the portal for the fucking 27th time with massive holes on your roster is usually a bad idea.
They built it like a fantasy team. They let the horse owner guy go out and pick the best players with the best stats. And Rick will fix it. Rick will just solve it. He's not God. He can't do that.
How many more times do teams have to do this before teams stop doing this? How much more? Like, how much more can these programs take doing this? Spending this kind of money? Just stapling teams together with good stats. Hoping for the best. It's so bad. But it makes me happy.
Well, guys, I'm going to jump off real quick, though. If you're not watching BYU Dayton, probably want to turn it on. It's coming down to the wire, and Dayton's putting up a fight.
Yeah,
It's gonna-
BYU had surged in front in the second half, and you thought, here we go, but Dayton's not going away. Thank you. Appreciate it, Mac. I would,
Nope.
it is now tied, in fact. I would note that the next grade St. John's point guard, Ian Jackson, is currently sitting at 8 assists, and I believe it's 16 turnovers for the year. So, turns out the
Not
guy
ideal.
who's never been a point guard in his entire fucking life still isn't a point guard. And the national media hotballs can't believe this. They're stunned.
Shocking turn of events.
Shocking.
Couldn't imagine.
All right, guys, I'm out. But see you guys on Tuesday. It's gonna be a good one.
Thanks,
We'll
Mac.
see you there,
Look
brother.
forward to it. Speaking of things, hotballs that made everyone mad, Adam Zagoria got some quotes from Dan post game today on the favorite
Oh, you did?
thing.
Oh,
You want to talk about it?
does this make you mad?
No, it's not. You can't ignore it. Dan Hurley says UConn's open to the players era in the future. Lucrative MTEs. I did love this specific quote from Dan. I mean, the days of us losing money to go play in events are over. What conditions would have to be met for UConn to appear in another November MTE? Quote, it's about two things. It's about trying to put together great games for your students and your fans and your season ticket holders and your donors, and you're trying to get games that are worth it to us from a revenue standpoint. If these events want to bring the best teams together and present lucrative financial opportunities, I don't know if you could get me to go back to Maui per se, but I'm not out on MTEs. I'm out on us having to pay a lot of money to go play in MTEs and maybe avoiding 8-team MTEs. So apparently he's down for a 32-team monstrosity in Las Vegas.
I am not.
Yeah, but he talks about wanting to go to like 8 or 9 good out of conference games, and I don't think you can schedule 8 of them individually. So, and the Players Era guys today had a quote where they said they would love to have UConn. They're very open to it. Do you have no escalators in the queue? He wanted to talk about this. Being extremely annoying about this and my tree, but we're going to save the Christmas tree.
I like the idea of like 6 or 7 really good non-conference games. I do not like the idea of like 8.
By the way, we're going to have a big Christmas tree argument. I am saving that for the East Texas A&M space when we will have no basketball to discuss.
Oh, are you?
I just think we'll need it.
I'm
going to have a conversation about your Christmas tree habits. It's disgusting.
I'm popping in here to say that if you're the holdout that gets the money right to come into Players Era, November in Las Vegas is beautiful weather. There are a trillion affordable flights there. There are cheap hotels. And if you're going to play a bunch of cool teams and you can sit in good seats because the arenas aren't that full because everybody leaves to go to the blackjack table when their team is done and you can just move up to sit in the 20th row, like, doesn't sound that bad. The format is stupid, but that's the only problem with it. Get the big ass check if that's what it takes. Go play cool teams. It is not the end of the world. It's not that awful of a flight. It's cheap. Hotels are cheap. You know you would be there and you would have fun.
I would, but also it is not cheap to get into the event. It was like $150 to get into any session, and there were no secondary market tickets. And the ticketing through AXS was a complete
they
disaster.
controlled the whole thing through it, and it was a mess. And there was fake tickets getting sold. So maybe some details just to be, ironed out. I don't know, but no.
And I do think this is the direction it's going. I don't like it. I also don't think that we're magically going to stop it or any of that.
I don't know.
Like I'm aware of that. I wonder it's going to be, and they will. Maybe it's UConn. They right now haven't been able to get the like really elite level UConn, Duke, Carolina, Kentucky commitment there. Yet it's a little harder for Kansas, Kentucky, Duke, and UNC to commit to it because they're already committed to either the CBS Sports Classic or the Champions Classic, and it just takes up. Although Champions Classic is only one game.
Yeah.
Actually, so is CBS. I guess they could get one of those teams, but Kentucky makes $5 million a home game with what they do at Rupp, and it's going to be really hard for them to say, yeah, sure, we'll just give up 2 or 3 home games to go play in this. And Kentucky traditionally doesn't get involved in a lot of these events. Part of what makes Maui 2011 funny is Kentucky very rarely does things like Maui, and it went very badly for them in the last game. And I know that fan base has been some of their fans have been complaining about they want to get involved in some of the Maui, the Battle for Atlantis, and now Players Era. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get involved. The money getting thrown around there is crazy. It's a convoluted event, though. That's my issue with it.
Yeah, I'd be kind of interested to see what happens in the next couple of months. Like, who else gets a harebrained idea to say, hey, it's the most craven thing we could possibly do. The blue blood circle jerk 6,000 invitational. They just get a bunch of the big teams.
It's being bankrolled by Redbird
You
Capital.
play on top of a Navy ship perched on top of a mountain
not that
somewhere.
again. We're not bringing that back, please.
What are your thoughts on Saudi Arabia?
Oh, that's absolutely coming. They can't wait.
It's a matter of time.
Brett Yarmark cannot wait to bring Iowa State and Baylor basketball to Regia, which I know I didn't pronounce it.
The SEC preseason spectacle. That's what it'll be. Somebody in Arkansas is going to love it. Can you imagine John Calipari just riding around on a camel?
Calling the hogs in Saudi Arabia.
Just letting somebody shoot money at him all day. You know it's coming.
So the bankroll behind it is Redbird Capital, who's the UAE.
The UAE.
This is all them trying to grease the skids of eventually, when the NCAA tournament contract is up, 2032, you make the relationships now with these big events. And you can step in and you can replace the NCAA tournament with your event. That's what I think the long-term play is.
Final Four in Riyadh is going to fucking slap.
That's what the long-term play is. That's why they're throwing all the money at this when nobody makes money on MTEs. They're trying to create the relationships now to take over for the NCAA tournament later down the line. I know that sounds conspiracy theory, but like it's a logical thing to do. We've seen the UAE.
But they're doing it in soccer, dude.
Yes.
What they've tried to do in soccer with the Super League. Like, it's the same thing.
But this sidebar, BYU Dayton is incredible basketball right now. It is absolutely unhinged. November Dayton is better than November Arizona. It's better. It's finer. It's purer. It's more uncut. Absolute cocaine. But yeah, I don't like players there. Everybody knows why. But like, I'm also aware this is sort of the nobody's going to stop it thing. Nobody's going to step in because for me, it's,
I don't know.
They could just bankroll any of the other MTEs, but they're doing their own. Why? Because they want to get in position.
But what if somebody else, a little bit more craven and somewhere else, just decides, let's do something somewhere else?
That was where I thought this would go. Honestly, I expected the whole because they couldn't have been.
Why does it have to be this? You know what I mean?
It doesn't.
Somebody, some completely shameless asshole is sitting in his living room right now that's made out of marble and just human exploitation and just sitting there going, what if we put an event like Florida or Miami or Riyadh or some other stupid ass exotic location, Beijing?
Well, the Pac-12 used to play out there, and then I think Georgetown ruined.
Georgetown went out there and fucking started a fight and an international.
No Big East team is ever going back to the People's Republic of China. It's just not allowed. No matter how kind we are to the refs. AJ DeBonsa might have just finally killed Dayton off. This has been a hell of a finish. Yeah, so I'd like them to be a little looser on the ticketing thing. If these guys are all big talk about the free market, what are you so afraid of the resale market? Because if the ticketing gets a little looser and you get more fans in, you get what's called an atmosphere. Because the games were amazing. I watched all of them. I'm the guy that bitched about them and watched them. Fully admit I can do both things. I can possess two thoughts in my head at once, which is kind of a record low for me. But anyway, if they could just get an atmosphere in there, the thing works better. If they just do brackets, and I think they're going to do brackets. They sounded open to it after being extremely arrogant about not wanting to do brackets. And insisting to everybody who's watched brackets their whole life, no, this is the way we do it in AAU, a thing everybody loves, right?
But I also
AAU
kind of wonder why does it have to be in Las Vegas?
Because you
we're
can get
thinking of possibilities, right? Like
you can get enough hotel rooms, you can get enough arenas.
Yeah, okay, maybe you do the semifinals and the finals in Vegas, but like kind of like a preseason NIT kind of thing. wouldn't you make a lot more money maybe putting it in some larger media markets, like say New York City or a Miami or a Los Angeles?
I think what you do also, if you want to do the kind of soft power move to get people a little less uneasy, what if you did one of the 8-team brackets at the Palestra? Because then you're in Philadelphia, you got plenty of hotels, and you can bullshit your way like, oh, we're appealing to the history of college basketball. Like, do one there, do one at Hinkle. Then it looks less offensive to people.
Or what if you did like the World Cup of MTEs? You have a little Players Era in Maui. You throw a little PE there. Throw a little PE into the Battle of Atlantis, right? You pick the 4 big ones. And the 4 winners of those MTEs go to Vegas for a weekend.
The reason they won't do that is Maui and Battle for Atlantis are run by the company that despises the people running Players Era.
Yeah.
They're very opposed. Battle for Atlantis 2026 currently sitting at 0 committed teams, by the way. They are in fucking trouble. They're actually in more trouble than Maui.
Reverse engineered it though. Like, who's to say you got to do it at La Haina, right? Like, do it at Hawaii's arena in Honolulu. There's humans.
Oh, oh God, I forgot what it's called. I'm very mad at myself. I usually know. As Jaden Feder
More
knows,
translucent Gamble.
More
translucent Gamble. That's what I always refer to it as.
It'll always be the same Sheriff Center.
But like, you could. What if you did? What if you brought the Great Alaska Shootout back?
No, see, that's the thing. Everybody this week was worried about Maui. Nobody gave a shit when they killed the Great Alaska Shootout, and I thought that was a pretty big tell. You guys just want your free Thanksgiving week vacation somewhere where it's warm. Can we just admit that? That's what you all want. That's all they want.
But all I'm just saying is, look, I think there's a way that you could play into the tradition of it and sort of the regionalization of it. Like, you throw UCLA, you throw Arizona, you throw, I don't know, fucking anybody. Texas. Throw them out to Hawaii. Even do a round robin. I don't know. Do 4 teams. It's like World Cup pool play. And you take those 4 group winners of whatever those MTEs are. And you get a chance to win some money at all of them. To encourage participation. Cross-homogenization, as I like to call it. And you just put the last 4 in, I don't know, New York, Las Vegas, whatever stupid tourist trap of a town you want to throw them in.
Yeah,
do that. And that's where the big bag of cash is.
Yeah. The thing that surprised me isn't what Players Era is doing. It's that none of the other MTEs are trying to
do it.
MTE or put NIL money involved. Like the cause and effect, they're putting it right in front of your face. Now you won't have Players Era money, but you can't get $1 million divided against the teams in the Terry's Chocolate ESPN Invitational.
Yeah. I think it's tougher with Atlantis and La Haina because even if you like super rich guy exclusive, made it like super rich guy exclusive, there's only so many tickets to sell in Maui.
Yeah, but that's why it works. Is that gym is amazing, but it's also you've only got to worry about selling 500 seats.
Where it's a little different if you're playing in like say the Hawaii arena where there's I think 9,000.
Yeah, no, it's huge. I mean they held,
and you're in Honolulu close to the airport and like you're doing all the kind of cool shit.
Well, yeah, they've held MTEs at Hawaii's arena forever, and they've had 12 people at them, including the year they hosted Maui. That was probably the best atmosphere they ever had. The place was still 2/3 empty.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's tough. It's part of the Players Era thing is they're doing it in giant arenas. They're making it harder on themselves. That's why I was doing the Palestra thing. Not just that it looks nice. It's like also the Palestra's small. Like you can cram people in there. And you can get a little bit of atmosphere. You don't need a ton.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like
you don't need.
I think sweet spot is like that 5 to like 8,000 seat arena. You don't want to go as small as like a ballroom or La Haina, but like the Palestra would be perfect. Hinkle. Go to the historic venues of the game. I'm sure you can find some others that are still active that maybe just aren't as inhabited as they used to be. I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like there's ways to be creative is what I'm trying to say.
Right, and that's the other side
Instead
of it.
Just thinking like, oh, let's get as many fucking brain dead assholes to Las Vegas to play in front of like wildly empty arenas and the hollowed out husk of a tourist town that is like in complete collapse.
It's always Vegas too.
Economically.
It's always Vegas. I know why. There's a million hotel rooms and arenas, but like, it's just the same. We're just spamming the same thing. We're just spamming the same thing over and over again.
Like the Las Vegas economy, and the economy's not great, period, but like the Las Vegas economy is a complete fucking tire fire right now.
It's kind of the canary in the coal mine, many are arguing. It's really
like
bad.
the bubble of the bubbles. So like, what are we doing? Like, let's get creative. If we're going to rethink things, like, my point is, like, let's substantially rethink them. That's all.
Not just cram 32 teams into Vegas and see what figures out. I want to shout the Paint Touches, the Marquette guys. They've been calling for their idea forever has been the College Basketball Champions League, and they have a whole plan, and it makes a lot of sense. And as a soccer watcher, I understand it. I think that could work. I know it'll never happen. So,
Red Star in the Final Four. Is that what you're saying?
That'd be great. Yeah, but and Dan, there was this rumor that the UConn wants to do one of the big out of conference games in Vegas. So, players.
I'm fine playing a game in Vegas. I'm not like opposed to Vegas. I just want to stay there for a fucking week or 3 weeks or whatever the thing is that they're thinging.
Yeah, you gotta stay and you gotta wait until you play. And that was the other thing this week. And I mean, this is why you need a bracket more than anything else. The fact that nobody really knew who they were going to play.
Yeah.
Until like 2 a.m. the day before. You imagine Dan Hurley being like, which of these 7 top 20 teams are we playing, and not knowing more than 10 hours.
Imagine them having to prepare for us. I mean, that sucks donkey balls enough when you have a bracket. Trying to prepare for us. Imagine just like cold turkey showing up tomorrow. If you're like, I don't know, Alabama. And be like, oh, we got UConn today. No, this is going to go well. I'm not trying to overstuff them, so I'm just trying to like state the obvious that we're like an impossibly difficult team to like prepare for on 2 to 3 days. It's just the way we play. I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to play Duke right now. Also running some complex stuff.
But by the way, because you mentioned them, Cameron Boozer's incredible.
Oh, no.
I think he's the best player in college basketball.
He is. I like how this Duke team fits together better than I liked the team from a year ago. And I think there's more of a ceiling for them as well.
Yeah, I think
hate saying that.
I think they might humiliate Florida on Tuesday. That's at that's the 7:30 game. Tuesday's a loaded slate. Of course, we only have one game we care about, but you got Florida Duke at 7:30, then Kentucky Carolina at 9:30, and then UConn Kansas.
That is a team. Oh, never mind. No, they have that Michigan game in February. Saturday, February 21st, they're playing Michigan out of conference.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird one, but I kind of like that. I like
they're
that.
They're playing at the home of the Georgetown Hoyas.
But there's not a lot of losses on their schedule either right now. Not a lot. Florida's on there. I don't know. And they got Texas Tech. They got Michigan State in there. They got to go on the road for that. That could be interesting, but they should beat them, I think. So I don't know. Duke's looking interesting. Michigan. I don't know.
That team looks good. They went crazy what they did to Gonzaga the other night.
That's the single best win anybody's had this year because Gonzaga's looks stellar. And then did not.
They 40-pieced them. Yaxel Lundenborg looks incredible. Just like a perfect basketball player for that system. Yeah. Dusty's got it rolling. It's wild how they just beat the shit out of Gonzaga. It's just, I know Gonzaga's had that sort of thing happen. It's fun, man. When it falls in on Gonzaga, it falls the fuck in. Like it's, they're like Ned Flanders, man. It's just, when it goes bad, it's really bad.
Yeah. I'm going to be interested to see them against Kentucky on next Friday. It's a big game for them, I think. Obviously,
this
Alabama
one
wins
is
really
big.
good for them. I mean, they destroyed Maryland, who's not very good. I'm going to say a mean thing right now, but Darius Adams might be a bullet dodge. I don't know. But that aside, Gonzaga looks, good this year. I don't think they're us good, but I think Michigan, Purdue, Duke, UConn, Arizona I'd throw in there. I'm not sure after that.
It's a really good second tier, though. Like, it's really.
I think the second tier's way deeper than the second tier's been in a long time.
Yes. Yeah.
I think there's a case to be made for like 20 teams that would have like a legit shot at going a little ape shit in March. I don't know who's going to stick out over who, but I'm there. Alabama up to 37th on Ken Palm in defense, by the way.
Like, Iowa's played nobody, but they've got Bennett Sturts. Give me him in a tournament, like with that coach.
Yep.
That's
a lot of teams I would not be wild about seeing. I might be a homer. I might not be, but I'm kind of getting there. I really am excited to see what Iowa State looks like against Purdue. And Iowa, for that matter. I think they're like
Iowa
a top
State,
10
Iowa is going to be the best that game has been in years.
So we're going to see. We're going to see,
but we're in that tier. And today, with the win over Illinois, the UConn showed that when they've got the full team, they're as good as anybody else in the country. And now they get the most fun test of the year on Tuesday, and I can't wait. And I just hope that I will be able to drag all of you idiots into the building.
I mean, I'm going to be fine. You have nothing to worry about with me.
Okay, that's fair. And we will be spacing after it. We will be in Kansas. We will have the equipment and everything. It probably won't sound this good. Hopefully it feels as good, though. That would be an all-time win if they could pull it off, just for the significance of winning there.
I would like to not have the lonely, mindless walk around campus. That's what I'm trying to avoid this year. Not that the Kansas people were tough on us. Because they weren't. They just kind of disappeared. That's a thing I can't wait for you to see. How crazy the fog is, and then their fans just disappear.
They're just gone.
It's like nothing happened on campus.
Into the fog, some would say.
It really is the fog. You're sitting there, you're like, oh, man. We're really going to eat shit coming out of this game? Nope. They like evaporate into thin air. They're just nowhere to be found.
Yeah, Gary Parrish brought this up on the CBS thing about other stuff. He mentioned it for the first time he went to Maui. But Lawrence isn't Maui, but it's the same thing. As a college basketball fan, I've been watching games all my life at Allen Fieldhouse, and now I get to actually go there, and I feel really fortunate. So that's really cool. I'm excited. I'm very, very excited for it. And the best part is it means I have a really good excuse not to watch a single play the New York Giants do against the Patriots Monday night, because I have to be up at like 3 a.m. for the flight.
I cannot
fuck them right off.
I cannot wait to see how overheated you get in there.
So it's already in my head, because I'm thinking I'm going to wear a hoodie, and I'm like, no, that's a terrible idea. Don't do that.
No. Maybe bring it with you, but like, I'm not even kidding. I sweat a solid 3 pounds out in there, and I know I'm not the only person. You walk out of that arena, and everybody's got like that beet red, oh my God, I just sat in the sauna for 3 hours face on. It's really good that they don't serve beer in there, because good God.
The last thing anybody needs, right?
Oh. At first I was angry about it, and then I got to the second half. I was like, okay, yeah, no, definitely this is really stupid. That would be really stupid to serve a lot of beer in this venue.
It's finally here, and UConn gets to go into it off of a high. So great win today, but the gauntlet is unrelenting. Tuesday night, Lawrence can't. It's going to be so late, that space, but it's going to be worth it. Can't wait.
I don't know where we're going to be. Probably
No,
Cancun Fiesta, guys. Honestly, probably there. Are you bringing all your stuff out? We gotta sneak our shit through security.
I'm going to bring it with me to Kansas. I'm not bringing it to Allen Fieldhouse. I'm going to have to go back to the hotel and get it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to coordinate that. We just take it to Cancun Fiesta and be like, guys, hold on to this for us.
We've been waiting. We've been waiting to do this show for so long.
You have no idea how popular you guys are with UConn right now. No idea what's coming to you guys. Fire up the burritos, fire up the tacos, unload the Dos Equis. Maybe we'll get to watch some fights in the main restaurant again. But whatever it's going to be.
I have their website up. I have their website up. I'm so excited for this.
Oh, yeah. Look up Cancun Fiesta in Lawrence, Kansas, for anybody that's not been there. This place, I'm telling you.
Fiesta Cancun.
Fiesta Cancun, yeah. Fiesta Cancun. It's not even Cancun Fiesta. That doesn't even make sense.
It says they close at 10 p.m.
No, they do not.
Not buying it.
They do not. Let me tell you, they do not close at 10 on Tuesday. That's a big lie. The greatest bartender in the history of the state of Kansas is in there. And she's got a remote control. And those metal doors just come down over everything. Nobody knows. And you just get everything that you'd ever want. And an experience at a Mexican restaurant in the middle of Kansas. Smack dab in the middle of the United States of America. As far as you could possibly be from both oceans simultaneously. You get everything you ever wanted. And more. And speaking of that, folks, we will be back with you on Tuesday night to give you our best. Or whatever it is that we've got left. I don't know. But either or, I will be coming to you live from the somewhat acceptable state of Kansas. John Brown's coming with us. But until then, folks, have a great rest of your weekend. Rest up for those of you who are not going, or are going, rather, I should say. Get your rest. We're going to need it. Big win on the road.
I'm thankful for all of you as well.
Wow. Late Thanksgiving. I'm mostly thankful for myself. But we'll see you on Tuesday night, guys. Until then, everybody, you know the deal.